Keys for tonight's game, Lincoln. Let's start first and foremost. Special teams, as always, a big pressing issue, but it was the difference the last time
Well, you called it right there, Jared. I mean, the last time these two teams met, the Outlaws really took it to the Rattlers special team, maybe caught them off guard, but you always got to have a fast start. Your kickoff or your kickoff receiving team is what's going to get you going, and it doesn't matter. I watched this team in practice, the Rattlers practice. Coach Eward really stressed special teams. As you mentioned, Coach Guy, it's one of the emphasis that he's going to work on because you don't want to have another letdown like you did.
Turnovers, always important.
Always important.
In this game. That includes fourth down stops, turnovers on downs. Kevin Guy said this week he wants 5 to 6 stops from this team, from his team, to create some separation against this Outlaw team.
Because it is such an offensive-minded game, anytime that you can get a stop on fourth down and force the ball to turn over and downs, it's the equivalent of an interception or a fumble. So those are huge. And if you can really set a precedent or establish a precedent like this Rattler team did early and often last year, you can really force a lot of pressure on opposing offenses. So stops are really key.
And finally, the quarterback situation is always important in this game. You mentioned offensive-oriented sport. Nick Davila, the reigning MVP, still sidelined with injury, with a bye week next week and a little extra week off. They're hoping the Rattlers' next game on the road against Spokane could be the return for Nick. But for now, it's all about BJ. He is the reigning Week 7 MVP of the AFL. He's riding high right now. He's got to keep it going.
And what a great confidence booster for B.J. Coleman last week to be Week 7's MVP. Now you come into this game another week with confidence. I watched him fly around this week at practice over at the facility. He is really at a high pace because he knows this is an opportunity to make a dent in this league. Look, the Latin Laser, as you would call him, Nick Davila, they're not going to take anything away from him. Hopefully he can come back for the rest of the season barring this injury. But if not, it's good to have a good, capable backup like B.J. Coleman who will go out and lead your team to victory.
And you want to talk about a capable backup. This is a guy that's backed up 2 MVPs.
Yes.
He's backed up Nick Davila, the reigning MVP of the AFL.
Certainly.
And he also backed up Aaron Rodgers of the NFL because he was initially drafted 7th round to the Packers, and that's how he got his career started for pro football. That's experience, and that's leadership that just can't be taught, that he's gotten to see firsthand.
I watched him make some great throws in practice this week, and I'm looking forward to an exciting outing. As you said, redemption is in the air, ready to go. I think he's going to have a good one.
Now, the thing about B.J. Coleman, he's got a monster, a cannon for an arm. Not always the greatest thing to have in the AFL.
Yeah.
Timing is big. Going through your progressions quickly is big.
Accuracy is huge.
But it's not like the Rattlers don't have the deep threats that they can take advantage of. So I would be surprised to see a few deep balls over the course of the game.
Well, look, you know what's going to happen. One of my favorite routes, remember last year, is the post corner option route that receivers have. And no doubt that we're going to see that early and often. But the great thing for the Rattlers and B.J. Coleman, he's got a plethora of tall receivers.
Yes, he does.
So if you put it up high, you have to play off the net. What better way to be able to do it is when you have a tall guys who can go up there and get it.
Yeah, Marquis White in particular, 6'7", 205 at wide receiver.
Yeah,
he is
basketball size.
Yeah, he's really had a nice first season this year with the Rattlers. The Rattlers will kick things off. The kicking carousel looks to have settled itself from the first month or so of the season as Fabricio Scotia is...
Say that 3 times real fast.
Fabricio Scotia.
Fabricio.
Fabricio is finally... I think this might be the first consecutive weeks that the Rattlers have had a kicker start a game this season.
Yeah.
So he is back, and hopefully the kicking situation has been settled. They've ran out 3 or 4 different kickers. He'll be set to kick things off. The Las Vegas Outlaws will receive. Gerald Young, the guy that returned 2 field goals for touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if you get 1 a season, that's impressive. He got 2 in 1 game the last time these 2 teams met. He's back to receive.
Jared, if you're the Outlaws, your confidence has got to be high. You beat this team. Matter of fact, the last time you played him, your quarterback, J.J. Rattlers, threw 7 touchdowns. So you really have to be excited when you get a chance to see this team again.
And not only that, you know, the Rattlers have revenge on their mind, but the Outlaws are coming off a whooping at the hands of the undefeated San Jose SaberCats. So they're looking to get back in the win column. And as mentioned at the top of the broadcast, prove that win over the Rattlers was no fluke. And in any sport, it's hard to win at the Thomas and Mack Center. I mean,
absolutely.
That's UNLV basketball. It doesn't matter how good that team is. That's a tough place to play, and the Rattlers saw that firsthand back in week 2. Kick is away for Fabrizio, and it's misplayed by Young. He'll pick it up in the end zone and get taken down. And it looks like they're going to say forward progress is going to have him down at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, almost a 1-inch line. It looks like it's barely off the white of the goal line. But, yeah, he originally gained possession outside the end zone. And, of course, the force of the impact took him in. So they're spotting it just before the 1.
With the kicking, it hasn't just been an issue of kicking field goals or extra points. The thing that Coach Guy has been harping on really for 2 seasons is finding a kicker for kickoffs.
Absolutely.
One that can hit the net, hit the post. That's something that they've been missing the last couple years. That's a good start right there for Fabrizio.
Well, Jared, I'll be the first one to tell you I've never really been impressed with kickers until you come into the indoor game, because not only is it a talent, it really is an art to place the balls strategically off those nets to where they bounce just the way you want them to.
And they did that. Strategery has really paid off. So Rattling. And there's a flag and a whistle blown as we get ready to start this game. We'll go down to the official.
Offense number 15, high motion man, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Well, it's not going to get much closer right there, offsides. They don't often call that. More times than not, you'll have ref crews that let that go. But I guess this ref crew is a little stickler. You know, sometimes with that high motion, you know, you've seen them many a times pass the ball before it snaps. They don't always call that. I'm surprised they did.
Yeah, they came to play tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they
They're
wanted
ready to go.
their presence felt before the first play of the game. So the high motion man is Wilson, Jomo Wilson. Back to throw is Rattling. And he completes the ball to the outside. That's complete to Jason Willis. Short of a first down, make it second down.
You know what's always difficult in this area when you're calling defenses is that you don't know how aggressive to be, because let's face it, in this short game, one play, one missed tackle can give you a long one. But more importantly, you want to be aggressive. Most coaches I know, and Coach Guy is no different, they want to go after that quarterback, especially when in this area, try to get a safety or a turnover.
On the far side, it's Clinton Solomon. High motion man once again is Willis. Back to throw is Roderick. He almost intercepted by Jeremy Kellum. It looks like he had Willis right there on the numbers, but Kellum cuts off the route and almost picked it off.
What a great play by Jeremy Kellum that time, reading the quarterback's eyes, and J.J. Rattlers did the ultimate mistake. He eyeballed and stared down his receiver where he was going. Kellum, great speed, great break on the ball, almost came up with a very crucial INT.
So third down lockdown situation for the Rattlers. Outlaws have 6 yards to go on the opening possession and drive of the game for either team. Outlaws in their gold helmets, white uniforms, and black pants. Rattlers in all black with the copper helmets. Roderick's back to throw. He's going to air it out, and he's no one downfield. Miscommunication right there. Fourth down upcoming for the Outlaws.
I was watching Marquise Floyd that last one, and he got away with a hold on Willis. He locked him up as soon as Willis came out of his break and grabbed his hips. I don't know what the ref was looking at, but he obviously got away with one. Credit Marquise Floyd for being a savvy old veteran and getting it done when he needed to.
So fourth down and 6. Coach Guy said he wants 5 to 6 stops here today. Why not on the first possession on a fourth down situation with 12 minutes left here in the opening quarter? High motion man is Solomon. Roderick back to throw. He's going to air it out again. That's Solomon. Overthrows him. Turnover on downs. Low percentage play right there for the Outlaws. And the Rattlers will take over inside the Outlaws' 5-yard line to start things off on offense.
You know, I've only seen it for 4 plays, but I know that their offense is in disruption, mainly because there's no cohesiveness. You're watching J.J. Rattlers stare down routes, which is not good for any quarterback on any level, but he's waiting for guys to get open instead of going through his progression. That's obviously a learning curve that he's got to find a way to gel with, hopefully not too soon in this game.
So in at quarterback, B.J. Coleman. He's going to have trips to the left. Windsor in high motion, hands it off to Michael Benson. The Cadillac gets busted backwards, hit by Wesley Mawia. Moving him backwards, loss of 1.
You know, what's always fun to me, Jared, is I was talking with Coach Ewart this week at practice, and we go back to some days at Tampa Bay Storm together, but I said, you know, I watch you guys work on all these run plays. How overrated is the run in the arena game? He's like, you got to call it, big fella.
Good call. Coleman, back of the end zone, touchdown! The touchdown machine. Rod Windsor gets the Rattlers on the board with 11 minutes left in the first quarter.
B.J. Coleman showed great presence and patience that time. He knew that he had a flood route to the far route. When he saw Windsor come open, he threw the ball right at a dime, right in the corner where only Windsor could catch it. Great heads-up play by B.J. Coleman. Great catch by Windsor.
Fabrizio Scotia in for the extra point. B.J. Coleman the hold. Rod Windsor with the touchdown. Snap off to the right, but Fabrizio, the hold is down, the kick is good. It slammed hard against that Casino Arizona sign. It looks like it might have hit a post, but nope, straight through the upright. So with 10:37 left here in the first quarter, 7-0 Rattlers. On top of the Outlaws, I stand corrected. It looked like that extra point looked a little funky. Lincoln Kennedy, and sure enough it was, as Fabrizio Scotia is 0 for 1 on extra points here so far. But that might have been more of a testament to the bad snap that B.J. Coleman had to alter his body to put down.
That's just what I was going to say, Jared. There was a bad snap, and B.J. was fortunate to get it down. You know you don't have a lot of time with such a short field. But he did get it down, and of course the kick didn't go through.
But there was a touchdown for the Rattlers. So they're going to review the extra point. That is, how often do you see something like that? It looked weird. Like that was a line drive kick. It went so hard off that Casino Arizona sign.
Wow.
And I couldn't tell because it was a laser shot. I don't think anyone could tell if it went through or not because he kicked that thing so hard. So we'll go down to the field as this play is going to be under review as the officials will look at it, and we'll get a good look at it here, Link.
Well, yeah, it's critical. It's critical to the score up. Oh,
yeah, that's
in.
Good.
That's inside. Looking at it, that's in. But you're right. It did hit that Casino Arizona sign so hard and ricochet out there so quick that we couldn't even tell from our angle if it was good or not.
And you would think that with a ricochet like that it would have hit the post and not gone through the net.
And I think that's why I assumed that it was no good, because I was the one who was trying to correct you when you first said it was good. I was like, wait a minute, no, it's no good because they still got 6-0. But it looks like from the instant replay, from our vantage point, it will be confirmed and be good.
So we'll go down to the referee to hear the final verdict. It should be a good extra point.
Went through the uprights, hitting the back iron. Try is good. Arizona is not charged with a timeout.
So 7-0 Rattlers after the made extra point. I should trust in my first instinct. That's what they used to tell me when I took tests back in my school days.
Really?
Trust your gut.
Go with your gut feeling, huh? Your intuition is usually right. Is that what it's saying?
That's what it's saying. Either way, though, Rod Windsor now has 15 touchdowns in 6 games played this season.
There you go.
He is, like we say, the touchdown machine for the Arizona Rattlers. He just does it each and every game. And that touchdown right there from 6 yards out, the first completion and touchdown for B.J. Coleman, as Fabrizio's kick is off and away, and it goes through the uprights. That one actually did go through. If he did that for the extra point, it might not have been an issue.
It would have been easier to find out.
It would have been a lot easier. So maybe he'll just put a little more loft on it next time.
Since we're working on test grades, I got to figure out what an OB is. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. Yeah, OB, Carl Pagnelli. Pagnelli is it might be the visual judge. It might be the one who's in charge of the replay, but I'm still trying to figure out.
Well, he was spot on finding the replay the first time around.
That's right.
We'll put someone on the case to figure out that. That's a new term for me.
So we start this drive on the 5-yard line and started on less than the 1 the last time. We'll see what the Outlaws are able to do.
A little bit more space this time. High motion man is Willis. That ball is almost intercepted by A.J. Cruz. It looks like Rattlers was trying to pull that ball back in and didn't want to get rid of it.
Now, here's the thing. Yeah, you're right, because A.J. Cruz is listed at 5'9". I can tell you, he's not 5'9". He's 5'9" if he's lucky. But the thing is that it hit him in the chest.
He's going to play that over and over in his head. Hopefully he gets another shot at one. That would have gone back for 6. Pass complete to the outside for Rattlers, complete to Wilson, short of a first down. A.J. Cruz is a fantastic story, though. That may be one of the few, if you can call it negative plays he's had this year. He has just been the spark plug, the jack of all trades. special teams. He's returned 2 kicks for scores this year. He plays DB. He's playing jack linebacker. They just can't keep him off the field.
You know, what I like about him is that he's 5'0", he's 100 nothing pounds, but he's out there on pure attitude, adrenaline, and desire. And you have to appreciate when you see him play jack, play special teams, and just do whatever it takes.
Rattlers has trips to the right, back to throw, under pressure, throws it out, overthrown. And that looks like it might have been, was that Tyree Glasper?
Yes, it was.
Providing the pressure, which he does so well each and every game. And just like that, another 4th down situation for the Vegas Outlaws.
Well, one thing I can definitely give credit to this Rattler defense right now, they are not giving J.J. Rattlers enough time to even set up, let alone look down the field. So he's got to be quick and decisive when he's getting rid of that ball. Sometimes he's trying to throw his receivers open.
Snake Pit on their feet here in the first quarter. 8:19 left in this quarter. 4th down and 3 for the Vegas Outlaws. Turn it over on downs, their last possession. Roderick to throw, downfield, almost caught, and it looks like a fan knocked the ball away, and that's allowed, isn't it?
It is allowed, because the thing is that the fan, it's thrown over. If it's thrown over the sideline, you can get it, but I don't know if you can interfere with the initial play. He might have stuck his hand out on the field.
Oh, man. This game is not that old.
No.
And, man, we have seen things that I swear I have never seen before in an arena game. Let's go down to the referee.
Interference. When the fan reached into the field of play, we will replay the down.
Yeah, that you cannot do. Is you can't, the fan, people understand at home when you come to arena football game, that the ball goes over the sideline or it comes into your area, you are able to catch it. But what you cannot do as a fan is you can't reach into the field of play to affect the ball, the coming to the receiver.
And the beer was not spilled.
That's exactly right. That takes skill right there, Jared. That's a skill.
Defensive player of the game.
Absolutely.
To that man sitting on the 21-yard line.
Now, if he would have kept his hands inside the field of play, just catch the ball, he wouldn't have had a problem.
No question.
I've seen fans steal the ball away from receivers.
So 4th and 3, they replay the down. Rattering's going to throw it out downfield again. Has space. Almost an incredible over-the-shoulder catch by Jason Willis. But again, a low percentage throw on 4th down leads to a turnover on downs for the Outlaws.
J.J. really, Rattlers, the quarterback of the Outlaws, only had that play to go to. He was eyeballing it from the start. And as I mentioned a few plays ago, I've watched him try to throw receivers open. And that time he did the same thing by Willis. And it was almost a great catch, as you mentioned, but it's such a difficult low percentage throw in arena ball. Putting it over someone's shoulder and have them run into it, you just don't have a lot of field to do that.
So again, fantastic field position for the Rattlers. They haven't even been on their own side of the field yet.
How about that?
2 turnovers on downs in a row, and they look to make this a 2-score game very, very quickly. Trips to the left of Coleman with Marquis White in high motion. In the pocket, throws it out to Windsor. Incomplete, but a flag comes down. It might be illegal contact.
It's going to be defensive holding in the end zone. On number 2, I believe, of the Outlaw, Donovan.
To the goal, 1st down.
Well, they said 21. I don't see a defensive. Well, I guess he had
Dwight McLean.
Yeah, but I don't see him. Oh, there he is. I see him on the field now. I couldn't see him at first.
But Donovan Henley is a good story. He was on the Rattlers last season, and he is a local product. Went to Marcos Deniza High School down the road in Tempe. Played community college at Glendale Community College before transferring to Idaho State to finish his college career. So a local kid back in town playing against the Rattlers. Coleman back to throw from his 10. Pulls it back in. Trying to get rid of it. He's just going to throw that one away as he's driven into the boards. But that's good decision-making right there, because the biggest problem with Coleman week 1 of his start against the SaberCats, interceptions. He threw far too many because he was trying to thread the needle and force the ball too much. That was a little bit of a maturation move right there for Coleman.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Jared. And also one thing you have to take into consideration, it's difficult to score in this part of the zone because not only are you dealing with a condensed field, but you have those low-hanging bars and nets in the arena game. You have to be careful, so you can't throw a lot of jump balls even though you've got taller receivers.
Windsor in high motion, makes it, trips to the left. Michael Benson powering his way through, still on his feet down to the 1. And the Cadillac, Michael Benson, will set up a 1st and goal situation for the Rattlers.
Coach Ewart said you got to call him, big fella. You got to keep him honest. And there's those times where the Outlaws actually thought they had it figured out. A number of them kind of jumped on the quick hitch route and didn't pay attention to the running back out of the backfield. Got them closer than they were. They're only a few yards away from the end zone.
That time around on that run, he looked like a bowling ball going off bumpers. So just bumpers all in the way. 1st and goal for the Rattlers. Coleman tossed to Benson. Great play on the outside right there.
Benson carries.
It looks like that was Terrence Carter that got the edge and knocked down Benson before he could get to the end zone.
The smart thing that Terrence Carter did at the defensive end spot was shoot towards the goal line, or shoots it towards the outside. That way, it made it more difficult for offensive guard, Dennis, to get around him and get him hooked. So it's difficult to run in the arena game because the field's condensed and you really don't have a lot of the angles that you can take to push people out.
Carter is tied for the team lead in sacks this season, a presence on the end for the Outlaws. 4th and goal now for the Rattlers. Need to make a play. Coleman looking for Marquis White, and the flag will come down. And that's going to be the 2nd penalty on McLean this drive, and it's going to set up a fresh set, it looks like, for the Rattlers.
Well, McLean has to understand, I know he wants to be physical with receivers, but once you clear that initial line of scrimmage,
half the distance to the goal, automatic 1st down.
You have to let him go. He was mugging, the Rattlers receiver during that play. You can't do that. You can't afford to do that because that's going to get you in trouble every time.
And Lincoln, you talked about the presence of these big, tall Rattlers receivers.
Yes.
Marquis White at 6'7" was the intended receiver there. Used those big, long arms. The only thing McLean could do is interfere with, and as a result, prevented the touchdown, but gave the Rattlers a fresh set.
When you have tall, lanky receivers like the Rattlers do, if you can position your body between you and the ball, it makes it very difficult for them to make a play on you.
They'll give it back to Benson, and that's just not working, and that ball came out. The ball came out at the end of that play. The Outlaws think that they have it. Michael Benson, that's how you got to tackle the big guy. You got to hit him low. They took his knees out, and the ball might have come out too. Henley and a couple other Outlaw players are saying that they have it. And this could be a huge break for the Outlaws if that is the case.
Well, now it's going to get awfully, because of what happens on the bottom of fouls. Everybody's taking it up for their own team. They're trying to get their guys out. You got people throwing the other teams around, so we're going to have a couple personal fouls that go here.
A Rattler player does come up with it at the end of that big scrum. But there are flags on the play.
Yeah. We're going to have a couple unsportsmanlike penalties coming on the Rattlers here. It's always difficult when you have emotions at this high, Jared, to keep your composure, especially when you see one of your teammates being mauled on the bottom of a pile. But I've been on many of those little scrums down there, and anything goes. While the ref is trying to figure out who has the ball, I mean, literally guys are trying to pull and everything different directions. So there's a lot of frustration. A lot of times you let your hands fly out. And this time I think a couple Rattlers got caught.
Recovered by the offense. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 65. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Adam Savoy right there with the call. And you know what the thing is you watch this team so far, they're having their way with the Outlaws. But the Outlaws, give them some credit. They haven't given up. I mean, on the 5-yard line, they could easily chipped it in, especially after the penalty. They are showing some fight, making it hard for Coach Guy and his offense to get in. And maybe this penalty is maybe a backup, a little helping them, right?
A little bit of a blessing,
Absolutely.
right? They were really struggled with that short yardage situation, which forced them into a 4th down. Then they had 1st and goal, and they were going to be stuffed on that run. But now B.J. Coleman, who's got that rocket arm, has a little bit more space to work with. 2 to the left, Marquis White in high motion. Looking back of the end zone. Pass was intended for Moore, Darren Moore. Incomplete. Fans wanted a flag.
Darren Moore's got to make more of an effort to go after that ball, Jared. Just that simple. I didn't see it. I know that the defender was holding his back arm, but he's got to either throw out one arm like you're throwing out the other arm, make the infraction obvious for the refs to call. By you not even making a play for the ball, they can assume that something went on, but they don't see it as obvious as you being held.
3.5 minutes left here in the first quarter. Rattlers are on top 7-0, trying to make it a 2-possession game here in the first quarter. It's been a long drive. Trips to the left. Windsor in high motion. Coleman going to air it out. Back corner to Windsor. Nice defense. Did Windsor come up with that? He caught it! Touchdown, Arizona Rattlers, the touchdown machine, second of the game, Rod Windsor, and what a throw by B.J. Coleman to the back corner.
We'll see if they challenge this, because I think that Windsor dropped that ball. Unless it was a helmet or something else, I didn't see him grab that ball. They scored it as a touchdown. We'll see if they hold, if it upholds. I think they're going to challenge this.
And what people don't realize, that corner right there, that's the start of the Rattlers bench, and that's basically concrete. That
exactly.
He basically just
and you've got players sitting down, so where he slid into the chairs on the ground, you know, he had players sitting down who tried to jump up out of the way. I thought I saw the ball come out.
That's something that he's going to feel tomorrow.
There's a man right there, Aaron Garcia, head coach of the Outlaws.
Former Arizona Rattler.
Yes, sir. Former everywhere. I think he played everywhere, right?
This is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
So we have our second review of the first
already,
quarter.
Exactly.
And this one might be a little bit more difficult to come up with, because in that back corner, there are not a lot of camera angles that you could utilize.
Well, that's why one of the refs, before he signaled touchdown, pointed to the other one to see if he had a good angle to see if he caught the ball. So, you know, they're checking with one another. You want them to get it right, there's no doubt about it. But it's going to be hard. I'm telling you, from that angle, as dark as it is, to find the ball. I thought I saw the ball on the ground, but it could very well be a Rattler helmet, which is the same color as the arena football.
It's the same color. It is absolutely the same color, and we can't see it. It does look like he has 2 feet in, which is pretty incredible. You can kind of see the feet at the back end. He taps his left heel.
He caught it with one hand.
One hand.
There's 2 feet down.
1 foot. If this is like top 10 worthy right here, if Windsor ends up coming down with it, throw and catch.
Yeah, we can't underestimate. I can't underappreciate the throw by B.J. Coleman. The fact that he dropped it in like the breadbasket, back corner of the end zone, in spite of a big bar being there as well.
And great, you got to give credit to the coverage by McLean there too.
Absolutely. Windsor's fighting off one hand with McLean and has the other one who catches the ball. Oh, he might be challenging that back foot right there.
Yeah, that could be. I think he did get 1 foot in as it comes in, but we'll go down to referee Adam Savoy with the official verdict. Is it a touchdown or is it third down for the Rattlers?
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Not enough evidence to overturn, and the Rattlers take a 13-0 lead. Extra point pending.
Yeah, don't give them that extra point.
Yeah, you know how it went the first time.
You know how it goes, all right? So
yes,
we might have to review that. So be
patient,
you
never
my
know.
friend.
I like to get ahead of myself. That's why they play the game, right?
That's exactly
You don't
right.
just hand it to them.
Very true.
So Fabrizio will come in for his second extra point attempt of the game. The first one was extremely controversial, as you'll see, for an extra point. And this one is blocked. And guess what? Terrence Carter once again making a play for the Outlaws. Coleman shoves a guy, that's Varner, into the second row of seats. But in the first quarter, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, 13-0 Rattlers. You're listening to Arizona Rattlers football.
Ninth man, the bunch.
Outlaws by 2 possessions on their first 2 possessions of the game. 13-0 with 2:30 left in the first quarter. Extra point blocked, though, which will a small victory for Las Vegas. That's got to get back to work here in a hurry, or this one's going to get away from them pretty quick.
Got to find a way to put some points on the board. And, you know, the thing about arena football is that because it's so easy to score, you're never officially out of the game, but you got to score in order to keep up.
And the Outlaws have yet to cross midfield so far in this game. They've yet to have a first down in this game. Kick is away for Fabrizio, and it goes off that back wall that has been really frustrating here today for both teams. So as mentioned, if you're the Las Vegas Outlaws, you really got to get on the scoreboard here on this possession. There is a flag down, and it might have been a player moving too early for the Rattlers.
Well, we're still waiting to see the call. I think it's against the Outlaws, but we'll see. They didn't move the ball, so I don't know if there was a penalty or not.
Looks like the flag was picked up.
Yeah.
So it'll be 1st and 10, Las Vegas Outlaws from their own 5-yard line, trailing 13-0 with 2:15 left in this first quarter. And one of the longer first quarters I can remember. Normally it's the second and fourth quarters going into the breaks that are the long ones, but this first quarter's had a lot of action. Raderick back to throw. He's looking to the sidelines. It's complete and over the wall. Nice effort right there. Jomo Wilson makes the play. There's a flag down, and if that's not against the Outlaws,
it's in the defensive backfield, so it's probably going to be against the Rattlers.
It could be the first down of the game for the Outlaws.
Defense number 91, the defensive end was lined up too wide. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Not a penalty that you see too often, but what people need to remember at home is that in an arena game, the defensive guys have to be lined up on the player, the offensive player, especially down in the line. So the defensive ends or defensive tackles in this case can have to be on the body of the guard. They can't be far off the guard. There's no such thing as a wide rush here.
So 1st and 10 Outlaws on their own 17-yard line. Their first down of the game. It'll be trips to the right. They'll fling it out to the outside. That is Wilson once again. He'll get across the 20 to about the 22. And these two teams are getting after it here. Antaj Hawthorne getting into it after that play with Terrence Campbell. But it's a gain of 3 for Las Vegas as they're moving the chains a little bit here.
Well, I can definitely see that the Outlaws are not intimidated by any stretch of the imagination. They've got their own set of cockiness, and this is what happens when a team beats you in week 2 like they did. They're still feeling that you're not as strong. Yeah, you might have hoisted up the rings in the championships, but we think we got you once before. We think we can get you again.
Rodering to throw. He's going to air it out to Solomon. In the back of the end zone, incomplete. Step for step with Solomon is Keith Brown, and he'll make it 3rd down, but there is a flag down by the line of scrimmage.
It should be holding against the Outlaws. I saw an offensive person reach out and grab one of the Rattlers as he had a clear shot to Raderick from my vantage point.
We'll go down to the field.
Offense number 71, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
10-yard penalty, so it's a big one. So it had, I think it was a clip. I don't think it was a hold. I think it was a clip. Because you normally don't see that. Yeah, you don't normally see a hold because everything is cut in half in the arena game as opposed to the open field game. A hold is usually 5 yards. A clip is a big one like a 15-yard penalty. That's a 10-yard penalty in an arena game.
So it'll be 2nd down now. And the Outlaws are all the way back to their 11-yard line. The first down marker is at the Rattlers' 23-yard line. We've got a little bit of ways to go here. Is J.J. Raderick and the Outlaws. He'll have trips to the left. And before they can get that play going, a flag comes down, and the Outlaws are really...
Jomo Wilson was off way over the line before the ball snapped.
It's number 15, half the distance to the goal, 2nd down.
They're really kicking themselves right now. They're moving back, and back with 24 seconds left here in the first quarter, down 13-0. A once promising drive with consecutive completions to start it now has the Outlaws all the way back to their own 5.
Now, to be fair to Jomo Wilson, that's not his fault. That's the quarterback's call. Quarterback is in charge of the high motion. He's got to time up the cadence and the snap of the ball to goose that center in order to get that ball up there. It shouldn't be, I know it's a foul on Jomo, but
it's his job to run.
Exactly.
Like it is on this play. He's the high motion man. Raderick feeling the pressure. He's going to throw it to the middle of the field. It goes behind the intended repeater, Clinton Solomon. Incomplete. And that'll do it for the first quarter. It'll be 3rd and long for Las Vegas to start the second. But it's been all Rattlers in this one. They lead at 13-0. That's Lincoln Kennedy. I'm Jared Cohen. The second quarter is coming up next. You're listening to Rattlers football.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field.
13-0. And the Outlaws, who started this drive with consecutive completions, 24 yards worth of completions to be exact, are all the way back to their 5 after consecutive penalties. And it's 3rd and 24 now from their own 5.
Now, J.J. Raderick will be best served if he's trying to get either half or a large chunk of this. Don't try to go for the obvious, the big first down, unless it's open.
Raderick is back to throw. He's going to air it out. Wilson downfield, right in his grasp. Touchdown, Las Vegas. And if there was ever a play they needed at that moment, that was it.
Well, you know what? Marquise Floyd, the cornerback who got torched on that play, has a bone to pick with A.J. Cruz, the Jack linebacker, because that time A.J. tried to get a bump on the receiver coming down in motion on the short side of the field and actually bumped off Marquise Floyd of the coverage.
Jomo Wilson with the touchdown. First of the game for the Outlaws. And now in on the extra point is Ross Gornall. The holder is Sean Brackett. Snap is good. The kick is through. Going hard off that sign. That means it's good. They figured that out by now. And with 14 left in this first half, 13-7 Rattlers over the Outlaws. You're listening to Arizona Rattlers football.
All right, ninth man.
13-7, giving up their first points of the game, and a little bit of a defensive breakdown on that play for the Rattlers.
Yeah, you know what? I watched A.J. Cruz, who was playing the jack linebacker we were talking about, try to bump the receiver, Jomo Wilson, on the short side of the field, which he's able to do, but he bumped off Marquise Floyd in the process. So when Jomo got around the bump, he had a clear sailing untouched to the end zone. Nice pass by Jada Raderick, putting it up, and Jomo Wilson running under it.
And they've tried to make plays downfield, Raderick to his receivers. That's
Certainly.
the first one they've been able to connect on, though. And that went now 3 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown for Jomo Wilson. Having a nice game here, trying to make things happen for Las Vegas. And now it's up to Vegas to get a stop. They're already 2 possessions behind, now down to 1, and that hits that darn sign behind the nets that's been bothering everyone here today. So it's a touchback, and the Rattlers will take over 1st and 10 from their own 5. The first time they're on offense on their side of the field here so far tonight.
Now we'll see. Hopefully they didn't get a little too complacent and seeing what they're going to be able to do on offense, try to open up things, see how B.J. Coleman responds. It's got to score to keep this cushion, but you got to score right now.
Coleman so far has been steady, 2 of 4, 20 yards and 2 touchdown passes, both to Rod Windsor. The second one, though, maybe the highlight of the game in the corner of the end zone. There'll be trips to the right with Marquis White. They'll swing it out quickly to Windsor. I thought that should have been maybe a live ball on the screen out to Windsor, but it's incomplete, and it's 2nd down.
That ball went straight through his hands, hit him square in the chest, and bounced down. And you kids listening at home, learn to catch the ball with your hands. Normally a short-handed receiver, Windsor, allow that ball to get into his body. That's a no-man's land, because when it hits those pads, there's no telling where it's going to go.
So it's 2nd down and 10 for the Rattlers, 13:20 left here in the first half. Coleman, 3rd start of the season. Coleman back to throw, the middle of the field, caught by Marquis White. And he gets across the 20-yard line, taken down by Little. And that's a First Credit Union first down for the Rattlers.
You know, one thing I watched Marquis White do well on that last play is he got great separation from the Outlaws defender. More importantly, squared his shoulders up and gave B.J. Coleman a big target. It's often hard for B.J. Coleman or quarterbacks to find a place to throw in that area because you have that jack linebacker who's usually a smaller linebacker, Lumen. You have to be real careful that you don't get it intercepted.
1st and 10 Rattlers from their own 21-yard line. High motion man is Windsor. Coleman looking Windsor. He makes the catch, running a hitch route across midfield. It'll be a gain of about 6 on the play. Henley makes the stop for Las Vegas and make it 2nd and 4.
There are times where Coach Guy, I watch him as he calls his plays, and this offense is so effective, so efficient, that he's toying with opposing defenses by nitpicking. There's nothing that you can call on the opposing side to stop them or slow them down because sometimes a 6-yard route is just as detrimental with an 8 or 10 or 12-yard or a touchdown.
And he's getting Coleman's confidence up in the process. He rolls out, open man in the end zone, touchdown! It's a marquee touchdown! Marquis White, his first score of the game, and the Rattlers are in the end zone, make it 19-7 with just under 12 minutes left in the first half.
And Donovan Henley, the defensive back for the Outlaws, who was trying to get a bump on him on that last play, really is hurt. He's still down. Looks like he might have a bad hamstring or a groin is where he's holding his area.
Marquis White, and a nice job by B.J. Coleman, who felt the pressure and extended the play by rolling out, using his feet, and then throwing a strike to Marquis in the end zone.
All he had to do, because he knew Marquis was going to be open from the giddy-up, saw that his defender had fallen down. He had to wait for Marquis to turn his head around and be able to show him where the ball was going to go. So, as you mentioned, great patience by B.J. Coleman, but I hope Henley's okay.
Yeah, Henley able to walk off under his own power. We'll see if he will return, though. A key player in the secondary for Las Vegas, again, the former Arizona Rattler and local product from Marcos Deniza High School. And extra points have been odd here so far today for the Rattlers. Fabrizio is 1 for 2. The first one was a laser through the uprights, but needed a review to make sure it was good. And then the second one was blocked by Terrence Carter. So let's see if the third one goes easy. They're going a different direction this time. Snap is good, kick is through. So with 11:26 left in the first half, the Rattlers are on top of the Las Vegas Outlaws 20-7. That's Lincoln Kennedy. I'm Jared Cohen. You're listening to Arizona Rattlers football.
On offense, not only do you have to guard against the quick stuff because White and Windsor and all the crew are very quick on their feet, but you got to guard against the tall balls, the high balls that throw up. So it's really a difficult chore for you to play defense. And it's always interesting or funny to me to watch Coach Guy and his offense kind of toy with opposing defenses because they seem to have their way any way they want to.
Yeah, getting B.J. Coleman's confidence up.
Absolutely.
2 solid completions on easier routes, a
yes.
hitch route,
yes.
a stop in the middle of the field, just ways to get Coleman to get those completions on point so that he has the confidence to make the play he did, to roll out and hit Marquis White in the end zone for the score.
Well, BJ on that last drive had a number of times where he showed great accuracy, and credit the Rattlers receivers for giving him a big target to hit.
Fabrizio off the net. It's played and received, and there's going to be some space right there for Little. He's got to get past the midfield. He does, and he's taken down by a couple of Rattler players. Got to credit the kicker right
Absolutely.
there, Fabrizio Scotia, getting in the way of Little at midfield, forcing him back upfield, and because of that, a couple Rattlers were there to get the stop.
You know, special teams is all about attitude and desire because, especially on the short field, you don't have it out there. If you miss one block or get out of your lane on defense covering the kick, there's a huge gap that opens up. Credit the Outlaws for getting good field position off of a decent return.
And that's probably the best field position of the day so far. It's
Certainly.
their first time across midfield. This entire game thus far is Las Vegas. A quick pass that's complete with room to run. It's a nice play by Jason Willis. And Jason Willis, he's been targeted quite a bit from Rattering. He made his debut last week, his season debut for the Outlaws. 10 catches, 121 yards, and a big one right there to get to the 10-yard line and a first down for the Outlaws.
Not sure what was going on there because that was just a simple see a guy uncovered, throw him the ball. So it was either a misstep by the Rattlers defense, but the receiver was uncovered on the line of scrimmage, which you don't, especially at a slot position, you don't see that a lot.
So it's first down and goal for the Outlaws from the Rattlers 10-yard line. Trips to the left, Rattering to throw. Rolls out, has a man down by the goal line, and it's incomplete, knocked away right there.
They're going to call a flag.
Marquise Floyd, but there is a flag down.
Yeah, that time Marquise Floyd had his other arm, his off shoulder. He made a play with his right arm. His left arm was on the back of the receiver and almost on the outside of the shoulder. They're going to call it every time.
42, pass interference, defense number 19. Those penalties offset, replay first down.
Yeah, so you caught the holding right there on Joe Mortensen for Las Vegas, and then in the end zone, the interference call on Floyd, so they offset.
So here we go. Give him another try.
So it'll stay first and goal from the 10 for Las Vegas after that play. But a good effort right there from Floyd because that looks like it was going to be a touchdown until the final moments.
Great protection by the Outlaws. The Rattlers defense can't let their guard down. Got to get some pressure here.
The 2 to the left, 1 to the right of Rattering. He's back to throw, has plenty of time. Looking to the back of the end zone, looking in the direction of Wilson. Kellum was there on the coverage, but another flag is down.
Should be another hold. Oh, it's going against the Rattlers.
Illegal defense, number 94, outside blitz. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So there's another example of has to be man on man, right? Tyree Glasper goes to do an outside rush, and that's illegal. So it'll be an extra yards for the Outlaws.
Yeah, the linebacker, when he rushes, has got to find 1A gap, and even when the defender that's on your side, whether it be whoever it is, you can't have 2 guys in the same gap. That time, you had 2 Rattlers in the same gap. They called it outside rush, illegal rush.
Penalties on consecutive plays has the Outlaws first and goal now from the 5. They'll hand it off Mortensen. He's cut off on the edge, and a nice tackle from the shoestrings made right there. So it'll be second and goal.
Well, you know what? What's going to be difficult here is that just like the Rattlers had, short of field, a lot of condensed action. It's hard to get things going in there, and we'll be interested to see if they go with another run here because they got a different quarterback. They've got Brickett in a quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good thing to note right there. Brackett coming in for short yardage situation. 2nd and goal from the 1. Brackett, he's going to keep it himself. What a great job by Glasper going up that A-gap, and he's pushed all the way back to the 10-yard line. And there's a flag down. And Tyree found the right A-gap that time.
That time he hit the right A-gap, and unfortunately, because that's what's so difficult about the runs, when you're shooting players or trying to get lead blockers, you got to let somebody go free.
Offense number 72. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Yeah, so they'll decline that penalty. How about 3 penalties on 3 consecutive plays? The officials are coming to play here tonight. But Tyree Glasper getting into the backfield as Sean Brackett tried to run it in himself, and he got pushed all the way back to the 10.
Well,
so it's now 3rd and goal.
We'll see if these loss of yards or these penalties are good for the Outlaws like they were good for the Rattlers, giving them some room to maybe throw some balls and run some routes.
And how about both teams' interior defense in short yardage situations so far?
Good.
The running game has been irrelevant for both teams. And Rattering doesn't like what he sees. He's going to call a timeout. So we'll take a break. 8 minutes left here in the first half. Rattlers on top of the Outlaws 20-7. They're finding themselves in a 3rd and goal situation. When we return, you're streaming Arizona Rattlers football. Timeout. 3rd down and goal situation for the Outlaws. Rattering didn't like what he saw. They're trying to get in the end zone here to try to keep it within 1 possession. 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Rattering back to throw. In the pocket. It's going to hit a man. It's caught. Touchdown, Outlaws. Jomo Wilson. His 2nd touchdown of the game. And it's 20-13. Rattlers on top of the Outlaws with just under 8 minutes left.
You know, you don't see it that often, but Coach Guy, what he likes to go with is he likes to go with zone in some of those areas. And that time he had A.J. Cruz, the Jack linebacker, try to stay with Jomo Wilson on underneath drag route. Really a difficult chore for A.J., especially running with Jomo's speed. And that's why you saw him at the end, Jomo break away for the touchdown.
Extra point now for Gornall. High snap, controlled, kick is up and good. So with 7:23 left here in the first half, 20-14, Rattlers on top of the Outlaws. We'll keep it right here, Lincoln. And this Outlaws team, they're pesky. They have seen some adversity, turning the ball over on downs their first 2 possessions, but here they are late in the first half, just within 1 score.
Well, you're right, Jared, and the thing about arena football, because it is an offensive-minded game, you're never really out of it till the end. Now, you know, you have plenty of time left in the second. Of course, the great
Gornall to kick it away here, and it's up and away, and it looks like it's going to be long enough to hit the net, and it does so. And it takes a funky bounce on Cruz. It's controlled by Brown, and he gets leveled. Forward progress will put him at about the 2-yard line where the Rattlers will take over on offense.
And that's why that up man is back there to help the deep man. Sometimes that ball comes off that net in those bars. It took a funky bounce just like it did right there. It's sort of hard to catch up with, and because it's a short field, you don't have that much time. That's why you have another safety player back there.
B.J. Coleman, 5 for his first 8, passing for 65 yards and 3 scores. 2 of those to Rod Windsor, the other one to Marquis White on the last possession. Has the Rattlers up 20-14, and they take over 1st and 10 from their own 2. 2 to the right, 1 to the left of Coleman. In the pocket, has some time. Going to air it downfield to Windsor. I think that was more so to throw it away. With a big receiver like Windsor, you never know what can happen. But good coverage downfield by Varner and company for the Outlaws.
Well, you have a luxury if you're B.J. Coleman. You have guys like White and Windsor who can jump up for balls because they're so much taller. And usually they're taller than the secondary people that are guarding against them. But it's not going to make it any easier. We'll see whether or not this offensive B.J. Coleman is going to pick on number 20, who's replacing Henley, Donovan Henley in the defensive backfield. We'll see if they pick on him.
Coleman will have a high motion man, 1 to the left, 2 to the right. He's back to throw. A nice route to Pompey, making his first catch of the game. Ronell Pompey who looked good this week in practice, enough to take the spot of Chase DeAdder this week. And that's a first down for the Rattlers on a third down situation.
And as I mentioned, number 20 for the Outlaws, Tanner Varner, is coming in for Henley playing. Now, I've watched the last couple of plays how they're playing him. They're playing him a little off of the outside receivers, trying to give him a little bit of a cushion. It's imperative that BJ be confident and patient as he's waiting for his receiver to come open.
Coleman, they're going to set up a screen to Benson. Good blocks ahead. Another good block, but an even better tackle right there. Nice play to save a big yardage situation. Dwight McLean with the shoestring tackle, but a nice screen set up for Benson. And it'll make it 2nd down and 4 after the 6-yard gain.
You know, Benson on that last play thinks more highly of his skills as a runner than he might get credit for, because he thought he was fleet-footed, he was going to be able to get inside. There are times where you just want to keep running and try to jump over those guys because nobody's going to take you up high, big fella.
And these Outlaws, no, they definitely know. You hit him low, he's going down. 2 to the left, 1 to the right of Coleman. To throw. Open down the sideline is Marquis White. He'll try to get more out of it. Gets to about the 15-yard line before he's driven backwards. But another first down for the Rattlers with under 5 minutes left in the first half.
You know, Marquis got to be very careful when he catches it in that traffic. Put that ball away. Very loose with that ball. Not knowing those Outlaw defenders are going to come in there and try to strip it away. Got to be careful. Don't be careless right now.
And Coleman has just been very, very spot-on accurate. I mean, that right there, if you can't hit him, Marquis White was very, very open, but he is just hitting everyone in rhythm. His footwork has been fantastic, and he's 8 of 12. And it looks like Carter might have jumped a little bit early off sides.
You know, I was at practice as a
Defense number 23, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
I was at practice earlier this week, and I remember B.J. Coleman yelling out the hard counts. There were times where I was even on the sideline jumping on the field. I was he called it so. He's got a loud, penetrating voice. I know we're up here in the booth. It's hard for us to hear him down the field, but I watched Carter, the defender for the Outlaws, jump 5 yards before he realized that he was offside.
He jumped out of his shoes
Exactly.
before he jumped across the line of scrimmage.
Very true.
Coleman, very charismatic, talking to him this week. Great personality. He'll swing this one out to Pompey. Has some blockers ahead of him. Dives forward, short of the end zone, down at about the 2-yard line. Ronell Pompey, call him Mini Rod Windsor. He's a small receiver, also from the same college, Western New Mexico. Probably the two of the prides of Western New Mexico, Rod Windsor and also Ronell Pompey, has a first down for the Rattlers.
And well, let's give credit to the big guys up front, Simmons, Carvello, and Dennis. A slip screen in arena football is extremely effective, but in order for it to be effective, you've got to have good, agile offensive linemen who can get down there and get extra blocks. That time the entire line was down there paving the way for him.
First and goal, Rattlers. They're going to quick. That's a miscommunication right there. Marquis White was the high motion man, and Coleman kind of wanted to flip up to him, but it didn't work out. It'll make it 2nd down.
Well, right now you watch Coach Guy's demeanor, his body language, and Coleman's body language. They said they misread the defender. You know, White that time coming out of his high motion, sees the defender in a squat position, has to know it's going to be jump ball because they can't react to get their hands up that quickly.
2nd and goal, Rattlers from the 2. Just under 3 minutes left here in the first half. It'll be trips to the right. Back the other way goes Pompey. They hand it off to Benson. Dives forward. Is he in this time? Yes, he is. Touchdown, Michael Benson. And the Rattlers go up 26-14 with 2.5 minutes left in the first half.
I didn't think the big fella had that much airtime, but we'll see. He got the ball across
That's
the plane.
all just
That's
lowering his shoulders and getting the ball out through the plane. Big play right there. A great response drive for the Rattlers as the Outlaws look to have something going on offense. The Rattlers just continue to respond. They have now scored on all 4 of their offensive possessions. And Fabrizio now in for the extra point. Best snap of the night thus far, but it's blocked again. Terrence Carter, and he's going to scoop this one up, and he has a chance to take it all the way. Michael Benson, who scored that touchdown, is the one that tracks him down to tackle him. And I think that problem right now is Fabrizio is just lasering these extra points through. That was the issue with the first one. And that one right there blocked. So it's 26-14 Rattlers with 2 minutes left. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football.
And what do you say we shake this place? Make some noise!
Well, the Rattlers have been on point on offense, scoring on all 4 of their possessions, but 2 missed extra points has it a 26-14 lead over the Las Vegas Outlaws, who will try to get on the board one more time to bring it back within less than 1 possession before halftime.
Well, here's the thing, Jared. If you continue to have struggle at special teams because you don't want to have a mishap play, the Outlaws had 2 chances to return and get a score. You don't want to have that go against you. You might just have to go for 2 if you're Coach Guy. You might have to consider that.
And they did that a few weeks back when the Rattlers knocked off the Portland Thunder. They were having extra point issues. Alex Zendejas was the kicker, and they did decide to go for 2 at one point. Little, his great dance moves, gets to the 20-yard line. There's a flag that did come down, but at first it looked like the Rattlers had good coverage, but Little was able to shake through and get some good field position.
This should come back and be against Outlaws.
Receiving team number 1, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So half the distance will take it back to the 10-yard line where Roderick will take over 1st and 10 for the Las Vegas Outlaws.
Now the strategy into this area with 1 minute 42 seconds to go. The fact is that if you're the Outlaws, you want to advance the ball, obviously, and score, obviously. But the thing is because the Rattlers get the ball to start the second half, you don't want to score too fast to give the Rattlers too much time to go the opposite way, because then it works against you. But you obviously want to keep the ball, so look for some short throws, possession-style throws to march down the field.
The chess match at the end of the first half is always one of the most strategic points of the game. And there's a nice throw and an even better catch by Clinton Solomon down the sidelines. That ball seemed like it was up in the air a long time for Solomon, but he made a nice play at midfield. 1st and 10 Outlaws. Well,
you actually watched Jeremy Kellum, the defensive back, on the play, as well as number 11, Arkeith Brown, were watching the quarterback as well, expecting it to be a short throw. I think they were surprised by that throw down the field.
And that's a 1-minute warning here in the first half. And we'll keep it right here, even though Lincoln loves the Buffalo Wild Wings chicken dance.
I'm going to get up and do this, so you go ahead.
Trying to close the gap between them and San Jose, which is a gap of 4 games right now. So they want to get this thing going. And meanwhile, over here in U.S. Airways Center, Rattlers on top of the Las Vegas Outlaws, 26-14. Rattlers trying to get a little bit closer in the National Conference standings to the San Jose SaberCats. Right now, they're 2 games behind, and the Outlaws trying to catch up from there. Back to throw Roderick. He's going to air it out to an open man. That's caught in the end zone. Touchdown. Jason Willis, his first touchdown of the game. And we mentioned earlier, this is just his 2nd game of the year for the Outlaws, and he's made a presence felt. 121 yards receiving and 10 catches last game, and a big touchdown in this one. Still a lot of time, though, for the Rattlers to do something before halftime. But a nice play on a two-play score for the Outlaws on that possession.
Well, that time I watched Jason Willis shake the shorts off of Arkeith Brown. He went back to pick him up on the 5-yard line because he did a great double move, and he was wide. That's why he was wide open. Here's the thing. Rattlers can't afford to let their guard down. As I said, they scored a little quickly. Coach Guy is probably thankful for that because you can get in. But because they're having special teams problems, we're looking at only a 5-point lead.
Yep.
So now you really have to be cautious. Coach Guy might have to get away from his kicking game, might have to go for 2. More importantly, for this part, he's got to score, but take care of the football. Be wise. Outlaws are going to come full bore and try to come up with a turnover.
We've talked about how J.J. Roderick has settled in since those first 2 possessions.
Certainly.
Where he didn't have a completion. On the last 3 possessions, he has 8 completions. He's now 8 for 15. It looks like they're lining up for an onside kick, so if the worst thing that happens is short field position for the Rattlers, score quickly and maybe get the ball right back. Marquis White recovers the onside kick and then some, gets down to the 1-yard line, takes only 3 seconds off the clock. As mentioned, it's that chess match. If the Rattlers are going to score, which they've done on all of their possessions, you might as well let them do it quickly so you can get the ball back and try to score before the Rattlers get the ball to start the second half.
That's exactly right. And what's incredibly impressive as well is when you play special teams against an onside kick, especially in arena ball, everyone has a position. There's a designated catcher who's got to go up for the ball. Everybody else is blockers to take the pressure off of them. That time, everybody playing on the Rattlers uniform played their role well.
And I think Aaron Garcia, as the timeout is called by Aaron Garcia in the Las Vegas Outlaws.
Vegas, their third and final, 30 seconds.
And I think the thing in here, though, is if you're going to do the onside kick, you give yourself more time if they score again, but you also set the Rattlers up for a situation that they haven't been great at in this game, and that's short yardage situation.
More importantly, in order to keep the clock rolling, you have to get forward progress. Have to get an inch and half a yard or whatever it is of forward progress. The ball has got to be going forward or the clock stops. Now, the last thing that Coach Guy wants to do is keep more time on this clock. He'd much rather have a score going for halftime, but as you mentioned, having some problems with short yardage, it's really a hard place to score right this close to the goal line.
And Michael Benson does have that last touchdown, but overall 5 carries, just 2 yards. Coleman will dive forward. A flag is down on the play. It takes it to the 1-yard line. We'll see.
Yeah, yes and no, but here's the thing. It's still first down, and it's back into that chess match that you were talking about. You know,
And now the clock starts again.
here we go. That's exactly right. Because now they can take your time. You move the ball up. It's still first down, and Coach Guy still has all of his timeouts, so he can take his time and really play with this clock. Take it down to, 15, 20 seconds as much as you want, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's going to take it down to 27 seconds before calling the first of his 3 timeouts. If anyone knows the chess game, it's Kevin Guy.
Yes, he is. Yes,
He's 6 wins away from 100 for his career. He already has the all-time best AFL winning percentage for a head coach, and he's already passed Jay Gruden, which he did with his win last week against New Orleans, on the all-time wins list for a head coach in the AFL.
I've always loved Coach Guy, and I had a chance to speak with him earlier this week. As I mentioned, having a third of his roster as rookies in first years, I commend him because you don't see a lot of coaches in a performance-based business have that at that backing. Because let's face it, it's not an easy job to win in this league, in any league. But you have this many young guys, they're just going to make mistakes. But Coach Guy embraces that.
And they've bought in, and they've picked up right where they left off. Trips to the right. Coleman's going to take it himself, but it looks like a player moved again early.
Yeah, I think this one's going to go against the Rattlers, though.
Offense number 63, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that's false start on Derek Dennis, one of those young guy rookies that we've been talking about so much. He just got a little happy, jumped off a little bit quickly.
What the hardest thing is for offensive linemen in this area, especially there in the goal line, is the quarterback will come in and he'll say a play, we're going to do a quarterback sneak on first down. You're in your stance. You're watching the quarterback's sense of the quarterback's feet come up to the line. You're anticipating that first down to get a good pop off the ball, and sometimes you move it a little early before he actually gets it out.
And you talked about how Coleman, the way he projects his voice, could get anyone going. Benson's got some room ahead of him, dives forward, touchdown, Rattlers. Second of the day for Michael Benson. This one from 6 yards out with 22 seconds left here in the first half. It's a 32-21 lead.
The big thing is when Benson gets that much momentum going forward, you got to get up under him, you got to go low, but let's face it, you also got to get in front of him.
Yes.
That's a big man.
And I wouldn't want to get in front of him.
Exactly.
You might stand a chance a little bit better than I would, but all I know is
I'm a smart man. I don't want to do it either. That's why I'd much rather block for him than have to tackle him.
or watch him from up here, right?
Exactly, or watch him.
22 seconds left. Fabrizio Scotia in now for the extra point. He is 2 of 4 in this game. The snap is good. The kick is good. So with 22 seconds left here in the first half. The Rattlers are on top of the Outlaws 33-21, and now it's crucial. Now the Outlaws want to get in the end zone or try to do something with these last 22 seconds because the Rattlers get the ball to start the second half and can make it a 3-score game if they score on that first possession, which would make it a huge uphill climb for the Outlaws in the second half.
And Jarrett, we'll see if the Rattlers defense wants to stand up for the occasion because, look, you come through an impressive stop. You're able to go in with a 2-touchdown spot, or at least, as you mentioned, a 13 or 12-point touchdown spot. And if we're at halftime, come back with the ball to start the second half, that's a great momentum builder. But the defense has got to show up for these final 22 seconds.
Michael Benson, 6 carries for 8 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Big man's rumbling.
He's rumble, that young man rumble. He's done a nice job, especially in this second quarter where he has 2 big scores. B.J. Coleman now 9 of 14, 106 yards and 3 touchdowns in this first half. And the Outlaws have done a good job getting solid returns on these kickoffs.
Yeah.
Little has done a good job playing those things off the net. And they'll want pretty good position right now so they can try to have a more manageable field to work with just 22 seconds left and no timeouts remaining.
You know, you could always, Coach Guy could always surprise us. What if he did the same thing? Go for an onside kick on this side, cut the field down, you know, and say, take the chance. Even if they score, get the ball back to maybe score again and still put it in their favor. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Keep this first half going. Why not?
Absolutely. There you go.
It's treated them well. Fabrizio set to kick it away. Little back to receive. Varner is also back there for the Outlaws. And the kick is up and away, and it's a laser that goes off the net, received by Little. He crosses the 5-yard line. Nothing there. Dances out of away from a tackle and gets to the 10. It's like McAdoo is there for the stop. That's a good job there by Little, who was stuffed at the 5, but dances all the way out to the 10. And now Rattlers will step up. And there's a holding call there on the receiving team, the Outlaws, so that'll move them all the way back to the 5.
Well, I was just about to say, you don't normally see in the arena game a cross block kickoff return, but that's what they did on that last play, sort of a trap block, but that's why they got broke out, because it was a hold. You know, the reason why you don't see a lot of trap blocks go on in the arena game is because trap blocks are a timing style blocks with the ball carrier as well as the block, and there's not a lot of space to work with, so it's hard to get the timing down.
17 seconds left for Rattlers and the Outlaws before halftime. They're going to do a quick throw out to Solomon, and he gets knocked out of bounds at about the 9-yard line, which will stop the clock. Cruz and Brown were there for the stop. 13 seconds left in this first half.
I saw A.J. Cruz on that last play just fly in there and try to hit lay the wood, if you will, on the receiver, the opposing receiver. Hit more of the wall that time, but like I said, I just love his attitude. I love his demeanor and his desire because he's a true fan who loves to play the game. A guy who loves to play the game.
13 seconds left. Second down for Rattlers. Back to throw in the pocket. To the sidelines. It's complete to Willis. Driven out of bounds, which will stop the clock again. This will be enough for a first down. That'll take him to the 20-yard line with 7 seconds left.
Still waiting to see if this Rattler defensive front can get some pressure. They
they
can't allow Rattlers
that.
to sit back here and pick them apart.
Glasper at times has been able to get into the backfield, but McAdoo, Hawthorne, and Dukes really haven't put very much pressure on him. Credit the Outlaws offensive line in this first half. 1st and 10. Rattlers will have trips to the left. 7 seconds left. Rattlers to throw, middle of the field. What a catch, one-handed catch right there by Wilson. But the clock runs out. They had something going, but they had no timeouts left, didn't get to the ball in time, and that'll do it for the first half. We played 2 quarters here from Auction Indian Community Field at US Airways Center. The Rattlers are on top of the Outlaws 33-21. We'll look at the first half stats. We'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard and get you ready for the second half during the halftime show. But first, we'll take a quick break. Again, the halftime score, Lincoln Kennedy and Jared Cohen here from US Airways Center. 33-21, Rattlers on top of the Outlaws.
Side kick right here. Try to get the ball back quickly.
And it looks like the Rattlers are thinking the same thing. They have everyone up except for A.J. Cruz. And the kick is underway. Is off. Off the net, received by Cruz. He can take him back. He's returned 2, and he gets through and has some space this time. Crosses midfield. He's going to go all the way to the 5, pushed out of bounds at the 4. And it doesn't even look like he's working that hard in the process. He's just so smooth, so quick. A.J. Cruz gives the Rattlers phenomenal field position to start the second half.
Oh, he might be the size of a Mighty Mike, but he's got the heart of a lion, and I just appreciate everything he does because he is absolutely fearless. And as you see, even towards the end, he thought he was going to get it, thought his quickness was going to be able to get him in the end zone, but he gave the Outlaws all they could handle on that nice little return.
The guy does a little bit of everything. They'll even
does.
put him in at wide receiver at times if needed. They haven't needed to so far today. Coleman has plenty of time, throws a strike, and it's caught for a touchdown, but there's a flag down. Marquis White might have pushed off a little bit, I'm thinking.
I got defensive holding. I'm reading lips from up here, my vantage point on the camera. I'm reading defensive holding. Should be declined in a touchdown.
And that would be the second of the game for Marquis White if that is the case.
Fouls on the play.
Oh, 2 fouls.
Holding, defense number 8. That penalty is declined. Illegal contact, defense number 20. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is
They didn't even wait for the referee to say touchdown. The guy running the fireworks just said, boom! Boom!
The result of the play is boom.
And Walt over here is was not expecting that one. But nonetheless, a touchdown for the Rattlers. They go up 39-21 on the Marquis White touchdown. A bad snap for the extra point, but the kick is up and good as B.J. Coleman handles it well, and that makes it 40-21 with 14:03 left here in the first half, or second half.
Sherman. It's never going to be easy, but Coach Guy's got another good team in front of him.
That kick is handled by Little, and now he's trying to channel his inner Cruz. A nice tackle, taking out the legs. It looks like that might have been Fabrizio, the kicker, and he is down.
Yeah, whoever it is, the Rattler player is still down, slow to get up. Is he at the end? Oh, that's Arkeith Brown. Huh?
That is Arkeith Brown. He made a phenomenal tackle to take out Little's legs. And he's holding his arm, but he wants to stay on the field on defense.
Yeah, the way he's holding that shoulder, he might have just popped it out, maybe had a little bit of a stinger. Got to watch it. Let's see if the Outlaws pick on him or pick on a receiver that side.
It'll be 1st and 10 Outlaws in Rattler territory on their 24-yard line for J.J. Ratterink, who went 11 of 18 for 158 yards and 3 scores in that first half. He'll have Willis in high motion to his left. He's going to air it out, going out Brown, just like you mentioned. They're going right after the player that was slow to get up, intended for Clinton Solomon on first down.
A little bit of a miscommunication there because, Ratterick thought that Clinton Solomon was going to run a grow route. It looked like Clinton was rounding it off, maybe because Arkeith was playing so high, an option route that maybe called for a curl. A little miscommunication between quarterback and receiver.
Make it 2nd and 10 with 13 minutes left here in the third quarter from the Rattlers' 24-yard line. 11 of 19 now is Ratterink. He's got Willis in high motion. Looking to his right, has a man open, it's complete. And that ball was knocked out after Marquise Floyd hit him, but they're going to say it was a completion as he did set his feet. Completion to Jomo Wilson.
Well, the referees took a little bit of a conference there saying it was a completion. Obviously, the receiver made a football move, and, of course, the ball was knocked out of bounds, but they're giving him the benefit of the catch.
And that's a first down for the Outlaws to the Rattlers' 11-yard line, 1st and 10. No pressure at all on the quarterback. You turned me on to that. Ratterink has had a lot of time to throw in this game. Trips to the left. He's going to screen it out to Wilson. Has some blockers, trying to push through, and the Rattlers are going to stuff him before he could gain any yards. Arkeith Brown was in on the stop.
What's always difficult when you're playing arena ball because usually the quarterback, the timing is so quick. It really takes away a lot of the defensive desire to really push the pocket and get there. But unfortunately, on the other side, you can't let your guard down. You really got to push that pocket, collapse that pocket, make that quarterback feel uncomfortable, because the longer they have with this type of field and one-on-one coverage, somebody's bound to come open.
So 2nd down and 6 for Las Vegas. Back to throw is Rattlers. He double pumps and throws it away. That time Cliff Dukes and Antaj Hawthorne provided some pressure, but that might have been more of a coverage sack if it was converted. Good coverage downfield by Kellum, Floyd, and Brown.
Yeah, I think you're right, partner. When you look at that team, that play right there, yeah, Rattlers held on the ball just a little bit, but it was also because he had great coverage by, as you mentioned, the guys you mentioned down the field. So that allowed the pressure to get to him. It's a tandem when you work together with defense, between defensive back and defensive rush.
3rd down and 6. Las Vegas is going to have trips to the right. High motion man Wilson. They got pressure right off the bat. They wanted to throw it to Mortensen, but Tyree Glasper and Cliff Dukes got into the backfield in a hurry, and Rattlers had to get rid of it.
Well, there's another miscommunication because the player who was lined up thinking he was tight end, number 60, Campbell, also the running back were running downfield looking for the ball. So, you can have one of them going out on the screen, but you're not going to have both of them going out on the screen. There was another miscommunication.
And it looked like Garcia was saying something to Campbell after that play. 4th down. This has an opportunity to be a huge play in this game if the Rattlers can get the stop. Rattlers to throw. Has time. Back in the end zone. Complete touchdown, Outlaws. Jomo Wilson, touchdown number 3 on the game. He goes over 100 yards receiving on the game. And a big score for Las Vegas as they try to stay at arm's length away from the Rattlers in this second half.
That ball went right over Marquise Floyd's helmet. He was paying attention as a receiver. He was not the one who was covering Jomo Wilson. I think that was Arkeith Brown. But Arkeith saw Floyd there and pulled his hands down, thinking that maybe Floyd was going to make a play on the ball. It went right over his helmet. If Floyd even turned and saw it coming, he would have had a pick.
So extra point now for Ross Gornall. Snap is good, kick is good. 9:18 left here in the 3rd quarter. And as mentioned, the Outlaws keeping it close. 40-28 is the score. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football. (40-28), the Rattlers on top of the Las Vegas Outlaws. Outlaws inching closer off a big touchdown from Rattlers to Jomo Wilson. He now has 8 catches for 103 yards and 3 touchdowns as we stand with 9:18 left in the 3rd quarter.
Back to that 12-point lead, and look for the onside kick. It looks like the Rattlers are preparing for it. We'll see if when Aaron Garcia going to pull the trigger and maybe try to get the ball back quickly.
But they'll kick this one away, and it looks like a little bit of a shorter kick. That hits the crossbar. Cruz does a good job of playing it. He's still on his feet, though, and he's driven back into the end zone. Forward progress is going to put him at the 2, maybe the 1.5-yard line. But, man, you got to sign Gornall up for golf, because that would have been a hole-in-one with the way he hit that crossbar square right there.
Yeah, that's impressive. More impressive is the way that Cruz was able to play it on a one-hopper. Remember, with it being a condensed field, not having a whole lot of time before those defenders are right on top of you. And trust me when I tell you, there aren't very many teams who block the opposing guys running full speed. Very well.
No, not at all. So instead of the 2, it's at the 1, where B.J. Coleman and the Rattlers will set up. They'll run a screen to Marquis White to try to get some space. He crosses the 5 to about the 7-yard line on 1st down.
And that's just a little bit of a breathing room right there by Moore. The thing is that White comes up as a receiver. You've got Winter as a receiver, and you're just trying to get them to hold up the point. When you have a high motion man who's playing, the defender's playing a little off, set up the stream. It's all about timing. Just getting a little breathing room, which the Rattlers able to accomplish that last play.
Gain of 5 on the play, 2nd and 5, 8:17 left in the 3rd. High motion man is White. Coleman on a quick throw to the outside. It's low and incomplete. It was intended for Darren Moore, who has 1 catch in this game for 5 yards.
Jared, BJ's really got to be careful. That time there was a little bit of a slip with this exchange between center and quarterback, and he tried to get the ball out quickly, playing that hitch route. Sometimes where you got to, if the play seems a little foul, you don't need to force it because you don't want to have a turnover.
And for the most part, BJ has been cool. He's been a solid 11 of 17. Hasn't faced much adversity. He's been solid. Has plenty of time in the pocket. Throws the middle of the field. What a catch right there by Marquis White. There's flags that came down. It seemed like it might have been more holding on defense as that ball was coming. And White is still able to haul it in, but we'll still go down to the field and see what the flag is.
Well, when the ball finally got there, McLean had the defender for the Outlaws had nothing but black jersey in his hand. So I'd be surprised if they don't call this against the Outlaws.
Interference, defense number 15. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
So it was pass interference. And if you go look at this replay, White does a fantastic job of sticking with the ball and hauling it in.
Certainly.
First down for B.J. Coleman and the Rattlers. Marquis White having one of his best games, at least that I've seen, in a Rattlers uniform here today. Feeling the pressure. They were trying to set up a screen to get it to the tight end, Dennis. But there were about 3 or 4 Outlaws running at Coleman, and he couldn't get over their outstretched hands.
You know, not offensive linemen in his leg aren't necessarily open, used to get open as a tight end. That time Dennis was behind the Outlaw defenders, but there was not a clear lane for BJ to throw it to. He tried to put a little touch on the ball over the Outlaws' outstretched arms, but he got one of the Outlaw defenders got a tip on it.
6:46 left in the third. It'll be trips left for Coleman. He's back to throw. He's going to air it out. He's got Windsor downfield, and it's incomplete. He goes crashing into a board and then into the bench. And a pad on the wall comes off. As mentioned, at the end of that wall right there is concrete. It's not any padded flooring or anything like that. It's got to be a helpless feeling if you're a wide receiver and you know where you're running.
Well, more times than not, these receivers are going to sell out and go for everything to go for the catch. But that time, you know, with the help of the Outlaw defenders, you can run them into the wall when the ball comes down that side, and that's exactly what McLean did.
So now it's 3rd down and 10 for the Rattlers at their own 23-yard line. High motion man is White. Coleman in the pocket, back to throw. Pressure this time, he's hit, but completes it to Windsor. He's just short of the first down, though. First forward progress. Are they going to give it to him? Yeah, it looks like it. They're going to put him up to the 16-yard line, which is more than enough for a first down. And how about B.J. Coleman staying sturdy in the pocket with the pressure on and delivering a strike?
Yeah, it's easier said than done when you're looking down the field, waiting for your receiver to get open, trying to be able to time it out. But you notice people around your legs. It's a natural reaction to want to look down, but everybody will tell you plays quarterback. You've got to be fearless sometimes in that pocket, and as you mentioned, stand tall.
So a gain right there of 12 yards and a 1st and 10 for the Rattlers. Coleman, his throw. He's going to air it out to White. Excuse me, that was Moore, who was wide open, a little bit overthrown. There's a flag down in the backfield.
Should get a rough in the passer.
Roughing the passer, defense number 42. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Joe Mortensen roughs Coleman at the end of that play. Some more positive yards for the Rattlers.
Well, Mortensen, who's come in for Sean Carter, who went out because he had to replace his shoe, Terrence Carter, I should say. Morton came in, he ran right over the fullback, but he also made a little bit too much effort to the quarterback, B.J. Coleman, and got called for a roughing the passer.
So that'll put the Rattlers all the way up to the 8-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 1 from the 8 after the penalty. 2 to the right. It'll make it trips with Windsor in high motion. Has nowhere to throw it. He looks like he's just going to throw it away. And it looks like there was a potential of a screen set up for Windsor, but he didn't go there. He looked downfield, and there was nothing downfield.
Yeah, the problem is the Outlaws read it well. They saw some telltale signs that gave away the play early. When BJ looked up for the screen, it was covered, and then he had nowhere to go with the ball, as you mentioned. But he had to find some way to get rid of it because the pressure was coming down on him.
Just over 4 minutes left here in the third. 40-28, Rattlers on top of the Outlaws. Trying to revenge an early season loss to these Outlaws who are in their inaugural season. Coleman is going to air it out. Oh, he had a man, and it's incomplete as they crashed into the wall. That was Marquis White, who had it in his grasp but couldn't hold on as he was shoved into the wall.
You know, Jared, you only have a split second by the time that ball gets there, and your momentum is carrying you into the wall, and of course being accelerated by the Outlaw defender, that you could catch that ball and pull it in for a possession and a touchdown, and that time didn't have enough time to pull it in.
And Marquis White, for the most part, has had as sure of hands as anyone in this game.
Certainly.
But you can't blame him for missing that one. Windsor in high motion. Coleman to throw. A strike downfield. It's intended for Windsor. It goes into the seats. But a flag is down. It's going to be pass interference on the defense. And McLean is just having a tough day.
Defense number 21, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Look, you got to understand that back judge is standing there for a purpose. If you're Dwight McLean, you cannot carry a handful of the opponent's jersey in the back of the end, so they're going to call it every time.
And Windsor has just been manhandling him really in the open field.
Certainly.
When they're hitting at the line, it's really Windsor winning that battle each and every time. And McLean has been called for a few of those here today.
And what's got to be frustrating is even when the Outlaws are playing good defense, they haven't given up the score yet. They can't get off the field, though.
Benson given the ball. Terrence Carter stops him in a hurry. Terrence Carter really has been the best player on defense for both teams in this game.
Certainly.
We have called his name quite a bit. He's been in the right spot so many times, and he makes the play right there. And
watching him there, that time he saw the offensive lineman who he was lined over go down the block, the inside, and he was patient. Instead of running upfield thinking he's got a free shot at the quarterback, he sniffed something out, knew something was up, and saw Benson with the ball and made the tackle for no gain.
Almost like he took a step back before he took a step
Certainly.
forward. Trips to the right of Coleman. Trying to get rid of it in a hurry. He's going to go to the back of the end zone. What a catch by Marquis White. Touchdown, Rattlers. What a game he's having. And a great throw by Coleman just to get it in the right direction, and Marquis White snatches it out of the air. Coleman goes through his progressions, and Marquis White makes the play.
Coleman was very fortunate that time because he eyeballed Marquis White coming out of his break and dragging across the front part of the goal line, following with his eyes. Lucky that ball didn't come over for a turnover.
Now the extra point. Snap is good for Coleman. Fabrizio kicks it through the uprights. Another laser for Scotia, but it's good. 1:40 left in the third quarter. 47-28. Rattlers on top of the Outlaws. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football.
All right.
Touchdown, Lincoln. What is the most amount of saltine crackers you can eat in 1 minute?
You know what? I think I'm right up there with Joe. I don't think I could have done 3, to be honest with you. Without a drink, how do you put down that many saltine crackers? Nobody can. That's brutal.
Brutal.
That's not even fair. That's wrong.
That's not even nice. I'm sure Coach Guy would be like, what are you putting in my guy's system?
Exactly.
I need him out on the field.
That's exactly right.
Rattlers will kick it away. The Outlaws have really stayed the course after failing to get a first down on the first 2 possessions of the game. They've really went toe-to-toe with the Rattlers ever since, scoring on each of the possessions since. The only problem is the Rattlers have also scored on every possession in this game. And Fabrizio kicks that one off the net. Little's done a great job in the return game today. Gets across the 10-yard line, still on his feet before he's driven down, and another flag is down. There have been a lot in this game.
Yeah, it comes to a point where it looks like it's going to be against the Outlaws again.
Receiving team number 1, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Clinton Solomon called for the hold on the return.
Slowing down the game. Come on, guys.
And we'll take official timeout, so we'll take a timeout. 47-28, Jared Cohen and Lincoln Kennedy here from Auction Indian Community Field. And as each possession has been, another big one for the Outlaws as they try to stay toe-to-toe with the Rattlers. First pass incomplete on this drive, intended for Willis.
And that time you got a fan got a ball catching on the sideline right there. That's the great thing about being down close in an arena football game. You can go home with some nice souvenirs.
And he was wide open.
He was.
He was wide open. Makes a nice play. We're under a minute now here in the third quarter. And at some point, Las Vegas, they're just going to have to get some stops. You know, they've done what they've needed to do on offense for the most part in this game, minus 2 possessions. Roderick to throw. He gets leveled. That ball comes out, and there's A.J. Cruz, and he totally redeems himself after that dropped interception, which he could have returned for 6.
Well, they're going to call it an incomplete pass. They're going to say his hands are going forward, so incomplete pass.
Forward, incomplete pass, 3rd down.
Coach Guy wants the hometown Jumbotron to do a replay right here.
Let's see it. Oh, right there, McAdoo had a good rush. Inside shoulder, pushed the guard back, came off, made the play.
And that hand, I think that hand was going forward.
Yeah.
That'll do it. We've played 3 here in downtown Phoenix. Rattlers on top of the Outlaws, 47-28. Jared Cohen and Lincoln Kennedy here from Auction Indian Community Field. We'll have the 4th quarter coming up next. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football. The Las Vegas Outlaws, they're down 47-28 to the back-to-back-to-back defending champion Arizona Rattlers from Auction Indian Community Field at US Airways Center. I'm Jared Cohen. That's Lincoln Kennedy. Rattlers have done their job. They've scored on each and every possession, and they've created turnovers, almost a big turnover on that last play of the quarter, but it ended up being a forward pass for Rattlers, and now a 3rd down situation for the Outlaws.
And I was going to tell you, you're doing such a nice job up here. I was going to go down there and dance with the cheerleaders, but
yeah,
I decided to stay with you just in case you need me. Bro.
I appreciate that.
There you go.
Couldn't do this without you. Downfield, it's complete. A nice throw, an even better catch to a wide open Jomo Wilson, who's had a fantastic game here today. Catch number 9 for him to go with his already 3 scores, and it's 1st and 10 for the Outlaws.
Yeah, you know, you really feel for Kellum right there on the playing the defender of Wilson. The fact is that dig route does take a long time to get him open, and you expect your pressure to be able to get there. Kellum doesn't want to give up the deep play, obviously, laying off, but it is a 1st down for the Outlaws.
At the 19-yard line of the Outlaws, it's 1st and 10. They're going to air it out. Rattlers underthrown. Kellum knows it and picks it off. Rattlers was hit as he threw it, and Kellum saw that from the start, underthrown, and Jeremy Kellum, one of the longest tenured Rattlers on this team, with the interception.
Well, I tell you what, credit Cliff Dukes. Finally get a chance to call his name other than the introduction. That time Big Deuce came off the offensive guard, and Rattlers saw him out of the corner of his eye, tried to put some air into that ball, threw up a lame duck, and Kellum came up with the interception. Well played.
And now an opportunity for the Rattlers to put this one away here early in the 4th, already up by 2 scores. They could really blow it open here, up 47-28 with just over 14 minutes left in this game. B.J. Coleman, been rock solid in this game. 14 of 24, 4 touchdowns. He's going to air it out on the first play, but that is a little bit underthrown, and it's incomplete, intended for Rod Windsor. And if Little was paying attention to the ball and not the man, he might have turned around and picked that one off himself.
Well, you're right about that, and the thing is that it must be duck season. I've seen 2 ducks in the last play be thrown up in the air. The thing, B.J., you had Windsor wide open. Got to take advantage of him when you got like that. You know, he's being placed by he's being covered by a backup Varner, who's replacing Henley, who left earlier in the game with an injury and hasn't been back since.
And it looks like on Coleman, because he's definitely not short on arm strength. I think that was a little bit more so he got his footwork all crossed up, trying to get that ball out, and because of it, underthrown. There's a short pass to get things back in order to Rod Windsor for a short gain from Coleman. Make it to about 3rd down and 5 now with just over 13 minutes left in this game.
Yeah, by having the 21-point lead, you want to go ahead and take your time and take some time off the clock, I should say. It's one of those things where you're Coach Guy, you're having your way offensively, but you also want to eat some of that clock up.
Coleman to throw. Strike to the opposite side of the field to Marquis White across the 15-yard line. That's a scary throw going from one end of the field to the other, but Coleman showed off his arm right there and throws a fastball to Marquis White.
Good play by Coleman, just taking his time, reading, taking what the defense gives him, and being directive with the ball, being deliberate with the ball, I should say, getting it right there on the point, protecting his receiver, throw him to the back shoulder, cover up, because here comes the defender.
And Varner was about a step and a half too late, maybe picking that ball off and going the other way. Coleman to throw in the pocket, middle of the field, wide open Rod Windsor, and he's got some space across the 20 of the Outlaws, and a 1st down for the Rattlers to about the 19-yard line of the Outlaws.
Not really sure what the Outlaws were doing on defense that time for Rod Windsor, especially to be that wide open. So I don't know if it was a breakdown or maybe a guy slipped down. Unsure.
Yeah, you don't leave one of the top receivers in the AFL over the last several years that wide open in the middle of the field, but that's what they did, and it's a 1st and 10 for the Rattlers here with 11:40 left here in this game. Pompey, the man in high motion. Coleman back to throw. He throws to the back of the end zone, incomplete. Coleman was hit, and a flag is down at the end of that play. Terrence Carter is down for the Outlaws.
Well, there were a number of guys that met Coleman in the backfield that had Outlaw jerseys on. Carter's the slowest to get up.
Defense number 21, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Bailed out by another penalty. I mean, it's unfortunate if you're an Outlaw because the fact is that Carter showed good pressure on that last play, getting around Coleman's legs. And if not even getting the sack, just being a nuisance to Coleman is going to mess up his timing, especially when you have a guy who is not necessarily used to playing all that much with pressure around him.
So after the penalty, it'll be 1st and 9 technically now. 1st and goal from the 9 for the Arizona Rattlers after the defensive holding penalty. They tried to kind of go for the jugular a little bit after the interception. That's certainly what they do with Nick Davila when he's in the game.
Absolutely.
They tried it with Coleman, didn't work. Back to a very constructive, solid drive with Coleman at the helm. They hand it off to Benson, and he's just powering his way through all the way to the 3-yard line. About 6 of those yards were with 2 to 3 Outlaws on his back, and the squats and power cleans are doing Benson well as he gets all the way down to the 3.
Yeah, you know what, the rumble, big man rumble. You have a big body like that, you can just lean on defenders. And at this point, with as much time that the Outlaws defense have been out there on the field, you saw Carter get bent up again, and now he's down on the field. Defensive lineman for the Outlaws. Somebody came in there and made a bad hit on the back of his leg.
Came up under him, yes. And he's had a rough couple plays. 2 plays now on this drive where he has come up gimpy. And that one did not look good the way he was bent backwards. As we talked about, he's probably the defensive player of the game for either team, the way he's played. In fact, I'll pencil him in as that the Rydell defensive player of the game once we get to it during our next break for the post-game awards. A shame to see him go down. He's a crucial piece. We'll take a quick break. Speaking of that, 10:38 left. Rattlers on top, 47-28, and driving. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football.
Time.
The game, the Rydell defensive player of the game had to come off because of injury. His knee was bent back in a way that you don't like to see.
Sends chills every time you see it.
Hopefully it's not a serious injury, though, for Carter and the Outlaws. Meanwhile, 2nd and goal from the 4 for the Rattlers. Coleman back to throw, still being flushed back, and he's just going to throw this one away. And he was hit pretty late. Rattlers hoping for a roughing the passer right there. They didn't get it, though.
Well, this is times where an offensive lineman wants to come to the aid of his quarterback when he gets bounced around after he throws a ball like that. But you know what? Cooler heads will prevail. The Rattlers have got a 19-point lead. They're comfortably ahead. No need to have a penalty that backs them up. And you watch B.J. Coleman, who was one of the biggest ones who put his hands up and said, I'm okay, I'm all right, don't worry about it, we're good to go. But best believe you're going to have some revenge served on this next play.
Yeah, I like his demeanor. He's let's just play the game. Let's just play the game type of guy, and he's done a great job of playing that game here today. And a timeout's going to be called. I think Coach Guy didn't like what he saw. Let's go down to the field.
Arizona, they're first.
Yeah, I think there might have been a miscommunication right there as Coach Guy
there was,
didn't like what he saw.
As BJ walked up to the line, there was a miscommunication between Pompey and Windsor.
They collect themselves. It'll be trips to the left of Coleman with Windsor in high motion. Back to throw is Coleman. To the end zone, touchdown, Rod Windsor, but there's a flag down.
It's going to be called back because it's going to be offensive pass interference on Windsor.
And really, there's no reason why Windsor should be that open in the end zone, so there had to have been something to it. Windsor might have pushed off before getting that pass.
Well, if they showed on the replay.
Offense number 1, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
They show it on the replay. It wasn't just a push. It was a blatant shove out of the way.
It was a body slam.
Oh my gosh, it was a beautiful block.
Windsor's like, I can't help that he's so strong. So that'll put the Rattlers back to the 14-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal from The Outlaws 14 with 9:27 left in this game. This has been a nice long drive for the Rattlers, taking a lot of time off the clock, up by 19. But they want to get in the end zone. Trips to the left. Coleman steps up into the pocket. Looking to the corner of the end zone. Marquis White almost makes another phenomenal catch.
And now they're going to go the opposite direction because they're going to get hold of Garcia's crew. You know, you're playing a percentage. You got one down. You got to score. You're hoping your defense is rise to the occasion, gets a turnover on downs because you can't get a first down.
2 to the left. High motion man is Marquis White on the right. 4th down. Silence here at U.S. Airways Center. Coleman airs it out, and a flag is down as Little knocks Darren Moore to the ground in the end zone, and that's going to be a flag on the Outlaws.
I got to be honest, Jared. That was not as impressive
defense number 15.
as Moore sold it to be.
Half the distance
That was a great acting job by Moore that time because Little did hit him, but not. Moore made it seem like he threw him over. He did a great selling job as he got knocked off the route. Little can't believe it.
So the Lincoln Kennedy Academy Award goes to, as you present him the trophy.
I give him the trophy.
Darren Moore.
For a great selling job. Matter of fact, you earned yourself a bottle of water, young man.
And giving the Rattlers a fresh set of downs.
Smart man.
From the 7-yard line.
Great move.
Deflating play right there for the Las Vegas Outlaws. They hand it off to Benson, tripped up. Nice play right there on the inside. Play made by Mike Lewis. 2-yard gain for Benson, second and goal from the 5.
And after the play, Lewis got up huffing and puffing because he knew he did something by bringing down Big Benson.
He just stuck his hand out there.
Absolutely.
And made the play. Terrence Carter has not returned to this game. I doubt that he will, judging the way that he went down and the amount of time that's left in this game. We're under 8 minutes here in the 4th quarter. 47-28 Rattlers. Trips to the right of Coleman. He pump fakes. Wide open Windsor in the back of the end zone. Touchdown Rattlers.
And that time it was definitely for sure. You know, fortunately for BJ Coleman, he read the fact that defense slanted towards the field that time, the wide side of the field, and everybody, including all the Outlaw defensive backs, were on that side. So coming in behind for the score was an easy pitch and catch.
3rd of the day for Rod Windsor, 17 in 6 games for Rod Windsor, the touchdown machine, the pride of Western New Mexico. And with 7:07 left, Fabrizio Scotia in for the extra point. The snap is good, and the kick is no good. That's the 3rd missed extra point of this game for the Arizona Rattlers. Makes it 53-28 with 7:01 left in this game. Jared Cohen and Lincoln Kennedy from Auction Indian Community Fields at U.S. Airways Center. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football. Left in this ball game, the Rattlers up 53-28 over the Las Vegas Outlaws and looking to make it 6-2 on the season and avenge a loss they had from earlier this season. And they've done a great job of doing what's made them so successful over the last 4 seasons of just playing smart football, no turnovers, forcing turnovers, and scoring just about every time you touch it.
Well, you know, one can assume that they lost a lot of offensive efficiency with the players that you had mentioned earlier in the broadcast no longer with the team or are going to other places. But what I saw out of B.J. Coleman in this offense was a great deal of patience and keeping the consistency of scoring, which is big for this offense and big for this game.
Little plays it off the nets, gets it out to the 12-yard line before he's taken down by McAdoo. And it'll be 1st and 10 Outlaws from their own 12-yard line. B.J. Coleman, 18 of 31, a $180 and 6 touchdowns in this game. No interceptions.
That's the crucial one right there. No interceptions. Don't cost your team. Don't be a counterproductive, especially in an arena game. So he's been truly efficient, and I've been impressed with him.
He's been very comfortable.
Yes, he has.
He's really looked comfortable out there, going through his reads, making smart decisions, not trying to do too much. Roderick for the Outlaws, middle of the field, caught by Wilson. Flag is down. Wilson breaks the tackle and gets out to midfield. There have been a lot of flags in this game.
A lot of flags.
Jomo Wilson's had a fantastic game. If the flag is not on the Outlaws and it's declined, that would be catch number 10 for him.
Yeah, I think it's on that. I think it's against
Personal
the Rattlers.
foul, hands to the face, defense number 77. That penalty is declined. First down.
Antaj Hawthorne called for hands to the face. Declined penalty makes it 1st and 10 Outlaws from midfield. And 10 catches on the day to go with 3 touchdowns for Jomo Wilson. And Roderick actually goes over 200 yards passing with that completion.
You know what? I know the score shows a lot different, but you know what? Roderick's played pretty well, especially coming into his own. A little bit of a shaky start, but then he ironed out the kinks. He's been great with Wilson, as you mentioned, and a number of other receivers for the Outlaws. He's getting some offensive consistency going.
And it looks like they accepted the penalty in the end, and they credited on the yardage after the catch. So that gives Las Vegas a 1st and 10 from the Rattlers 15. Roderick flushed out, rolls to his right, throws it away as he was being chased by Glasper and Mathadou.
Yeah, I was a little surprised when you go back to the play of them declining it because a personal foul is added yards and instead of just during the play. So there was no need to decline it, but obviously when they explained to Aaron Garcia what he could have had, he wanted to take the penalty.
You go, buddy, you don't want the extra yards? Come on.
That's what I would say.
Take the yards.
Dude, we're that much closer to the end zone.
2nd and 10 from the Rattlers 15. We've got 5.5 minutes left in this game. Rattlers looking to make it 6 and 2. Trying to stay and keep pace with San Jose, who remains undefeated this week. Roderick throws it, goes through the hands, but then isn't caught. No, it's not. It stays incomplete. Ball was intended for Hudson, LaDon Hudson, and it's 3rd down for the Outlaws.
Well, there could be a big mortal victory for the defense here, even though they've got a comfortable lead to basically shut them down with this 3rd down play. We'll see how they come through.
Yeah, the Outlaws have scored just 7 points in this second half thus far. Hudson, the man in high motion. Roderick to throw. Glasper sacks him in the backfield. That's the first sack of the game. There is a flag down, but Tyree Glasper provides the pressure, and that'll make it 4th down.
Well, you should get holding on 72 on offense, and they should decline the penalty.
Holding offense number 72. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Will Wright called for the holds. Decline penalty has the Outlaws back to the Rattlers' 21-yard line, making it 4th down. And a long way to go. The 1st down marker is all the way back at the 5-yard line.
Well, you add insult to injury, the big Will Wright of the Outlaws, mainly because he was the one who was blocking Glasper. He got called for a holding and he gave up the sack. That's insult to injury to the big fella.
4 minutes left. Trips to the left of Roderick. Airs it to the middle of the field. Intercepted again! Jeremy Kellum, interception number 2 in this game. And with just under 4 minutes left, the Rattlers will take over 1st and 10, and clear frustration from the Outlaws sideline as that'll all but do it here in this game. 3:56 left, we'll take a break. 53-28, Rattlers take over on offense. You're streaming Arizona Rattlers football.
Covered, but more importantly, threw it behind the intended receiver, which is the biggest no-no that a quarterback can do in this game.
Jeremy Kellum, the heart and soul of this defense, has really stepped up big to really put this one away.
Is it fair to say that that's probably one of the final nails in the coffin?
I'd like to say I think it is the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I like to stretch this out.
Yes,
you know,
I know.
I like to keep the drama.
Very true. Very true.
Jeremy Kellum has prevented me from doing so.
You started early with the tacking on the extra point before it happened, and of course they missed it. See, so we know that that at least you're consistent with it.
I am consistent. There's no question. Flag on the play on 1st down, but it's still a completion to Marquis White. Marquis White.
Yeah, usually when it comes this early, you're probably calling something on defensive alignment. But I would hate that the refs want to hold up by being sticklers for penalties.
Formation, defense number 33. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They don't watch the scoreboard.
You can let that go.
They keep themselves accountable.
Come on.
Clearly.
You don't have to call everything. It's not going to change the outcome of the game.
So after the penalty, that'll send the Rattlers out to their own 7-yard line. 1st and 10 with about 3.5 minutes left in this game. Really like what I've seen out of B.J. Coleman today.
As have I.
Nick Davila, with the bye week coming up, they're hoping that he can return to face Spokane on the 30th after the bye week, but they don't need to rush him with the way Coleman has played. And that ball's intercepted right on cue, intercepted right there by Tanner Varner, and he returns it for 6. So as you're ready to put the nail in the coffin.
See, you're right. I jumped the gun. In that time, there was another miscommunication between B.J. Coleman and quarterback and Moore, wide receiver, because Coleman assumed because the defender was high and wide that Moore was going to sit down on a 5-yard hitch route, and Moore just decided to take it right up the sideline. Miscommunication, but you know what? The fault goes to the quarterback. You got to make sure you have the receiver's eyes before you throw the ball.
Extra point, no good. And, you know, it's not easy to kick extra points.
No.
But we have seen far too many mishaps for your average game, at least what I've seen the last 2 games.
Very true.
Last 2 games that we've done. A lot of missed extra points.
And now we're back to a 19-point lead, which is, you know, with 2.5.
Rattlers are anticipating an onside kick. They've got everyone up with just A.J. Cruz back to receive. Ross Gornall.
Oh, they even got the quarterback. The backup quarterback is in, huh? Sean Brackett.
So what does that mean?
Well, this is a defender's chance to just lay in some quarterback.
I mean, you think Tyree Glasper doesn't notice that there's a quarterback on the field right now?
Right now, if I'm counting out, that's exactly what Benson, Moore, and Glasper, who are on the front line, are looking for and salivating for.
Is quarterback part of the hands team? Is that what
Absolutely.
That is?
No, maybe not. Just kick the coverage.
Just wanted to run some sprints, I guess. Ball's kicked away. It hits the back fence of the stands, so it's a touchback. 1st and 10 Rattlers, 2:37 left.
I would have taken a liberty to lay into the quarterback. You don't get, you know, they're often with red jerseys and don't get hit in practice, and coaches tell you to lay off them, but this type of situation, they're fair game.
You're licking your chops.
Oh, yeah.
You're licking them.
I'm running right up at him.
Kind of like how it is for you when the Buffalo Wild Wings dance cam comes on. You know, you lick your chops.
I'm looking for one of those wings to be delivered over here.
Yeah, right. I'm wondering the same thing.
What's up with that?
Walt feels the same way. Trips to the right. Coleman back to throw. Out of the end zone, there's a flag. That's Lincoln's favorite color. It's a completion to the outside to Marquis White. Marquis, that's his 8th reception.
Because it's offensive holding, you got to call it.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense number 65, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Hands to the face on Will Simmons, half the distance to the goal. 2:11 left in this game. A lot of hands to the face.
A lot of hands to the face
today.
You know what? In both the open field game and the arena game, they're making a conscious effort to try to keep guys' hands down. So they're calling it more often. And if anybody's ever played on the interior lines, it's easy when you're trying to get up under a guy, reposition yourself for hands to get up in the face. But you got to be mindful to get them out quickly. But they're paying particular attention to that these days.
Trips to the right of Coleman. He's going to air it out. Rod Windsor catches it in stride, and he's driven out of bounds by Little to prevent the touchdown. All the way to the Outlaws' 20-yard line and a first down for the Rattlers.
Not too often that you see double post routes in arena ball, but that time, credit B.J. Coleman with hitting Windsor in stride. You see double post routes going on the opposite sideline, and there you go. Wide open in stride to take the ball yards after the catch.
And Rod Windsor makes that look just way too easy. Smooth and catches it all the way into Outlaw territory with just over a minute left in this game. They'll hand the ball off to Benson. Benson has a whole lot of space and gets it down inside the 10-yard line. And Benson's having one of his best games of the year from a stat standpoint.
If you're LaDon Hudson, who's the first person to try to get a chance to hit Benson coming through that hole, you see the difference in weight between LaDon Hudson, who's listed as a wide receiver for the Outlaws, versus Big Benson. He tried to go low, but he had more ground and turf than he had at Big Benson, and I don't blame him. He's like, dude, there's nothing I can do.
It's one of those things where you dive and accidentally, quote unquote, miss the feet of the big guy.
LaDon Hudson is listed at 6'3", 215. I doubt very seriously if he's 215 versus Big Benson, which is 6 foot 275. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Benson is about a biscuit away from 285.
10,130 here at Auction Indian Community Field at U.S. Airways Center. A great crowd on a Saturday afternoon in Phoenix, Arizona.
Are you intrigued at what they're going to roll
out?
What is
with
it?
A flag on
The sidewinding girls.
They want the fans to get going. Players got to get out of the way.
Exactly. There you go.
They're bringing the big time noise.
That's it. Let's hear it.
First and goal, Rattlers from the Outlaws' 8-yard line after Michael Benson with a 12-yard rush. He's now got 10 carries for 27 yards and 2 scores. Outdoor game, that's what, 2.7 yards per carry. That's pedestrian, but in the arena game,
big.
That's big time.
That's big time.
That is more than you bargained for on a nightly basis.
Very true.
And Benson has had himself a fantastic season, let alone game here today.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking that we need to go down and help these cheerleaders just go with the big time noise. But
big time noise.
With 1 minute left, let's make it happen.
And Striker D. Rattler as well, helping collect that giant purple
Good times.
noise.
Look how quickly they cleaned that up.
That's
They're
impressive.
off the field. That's impressive.
That
takes some choreography.
You think they do 2-a-days?
No.
No.
But they are doing some overtime practice, extra work.
No question. First bye week of the season upcoming for the Rattlers, and boy, is it needed.
The team has dealt with a lot of injuries, and we've got another flag. I love this umpire. I really do.
You see Terrence Carter, who's back into the game for the Outlaws, is shrugging his shoulders like, really? Come on.
Certainly.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 54. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down. Number 54 is disqualified.
Wow.
Seriously. Wonder what he did. It wasn't even a play that going on. They had just come back from break. Obviously, he must have said something to the umpire because the umpire threw him out.
As Jabari Fletcher's just been thrown out of the game.
How about that?
With 1 minute left. There was no scrum or anything with the players. It had to have been something to the umpire on the offensive.
Had to be something that he said to him.
The line of scrimmage. So that'll put the Rattlers at the 4-yard line, half the distance. They'll hand the ball off again to Benson. Powers way through, still on his feet. Dives to about the 5-yard line. That time Hudson does a good job of going low, not knocking him down, but at least altering the trajectory.
I tell you what, Jared, Hudson looked like an ostrich trying to put his head in the sand. He wanted to go down so low to try to get up under Big Benson. He's like, man, I'm not taking you up. Oh, good job by Hudson, but at least slowing him down till help arrive. Yeah, they're like, you got to get on out of here, Hudson. We got to get some bigger beef in there.
They're especially going to keep running it.
Yes, exactly right. What you know they're going to do because they want to run the clock down.
Yeah, Las Vegas called their first timeout to stop the clock at 53 seconds. Pompey, high motion, handed off to Benson again. And there's stuffed right there. Mortensen goes face-to-face with Benson and then gives him a nice tap on the head after he brings him to the ground. I like that Joe Mortensen.
Absolutely.
He's not going low. He's like, bring it, big fella.
He's bringing it. That's exactly right. But the great thing about the arena game is you only have to get 1 inch to keep the clock rolling. So for the Rattlers, they got their necessary inch in forward possession. Clock runs down a little bit. Outlaws are forced to call another timeout.
Yeah, they got 1 remaining with 46 seconds left, down 53-34. But getting back to the bye week, health problems have been a huge issue with team. It's been the story of the first month plus of this season, and the bye week couldn't come soon enough.
You know, I'm looking at several people who are on, you know, that were listed to be on the starting depth chart that aren't available. Davila, you know, you talked about Joe Gibbs. I mean, there are a number of guys that you want to get back and want to get healthy. You want to be full strength as you go in the second part of the season.
Benson again on the carry. Wesley Mawia stops him for no gain.
Yeah, that time the clock stopped because they did not gain that forward progression. So.
Yeah. And Kerry Reed, also on that list,
Absolutely.
has been injured 2 different times this season.
You know, fortunately enough for them, you know, if there is one thing that they can take solace in, is the Arizona Rattlers defense is intact for the most part. You know, and that's big. I mean, that really is, because let's face it, this is going to be a main staple of this team. This team's going to have success. If they're going to be able to slow down the San Jose's, they've got to find a way to generate pressure. Didn't see an overall good a job I thought I would see.
Touchdown Rattlers, Darren Moore.
But you know what? They got the job done and they separated. Great job by that man right there, number 16, B.J. Coleman.
B.J. Coleman, phenomenal game here today. Has that 1 interception, but he's fired up, hitting Darren Moore for that score. 7th touchdown today thrown by B.J. Coleman, the first to Darren Moore. Makes it 59-34 with 36 seconds left.
Watch a double rub route. B.J. Coleman actually had Pompey, who was wide open on the front part of the goal line, but decided to go to Moore, who was right in the end zone, and for a score.
Scotia in for the extra point. No good. 4th. Oh, it is good. What? That totally looked like it missed. 36 and a half seconds left. Rattlers on top, 60-34 over the Outlaws. We'll be back to close this thing out. You're listening to Arizona Rattlers football. Left, and I need to get my eyes checked. 60-34, the Rattlers on top of the Outlaws, and I got it right the first time on the first extra point, and I totally made up for it, I guess, in your eyes by totally missing.
All good. Both times you had me second guess what I saw.
I'm just making sure you're paying attention.
You got me on point, partner. You got me on point. You're checking me out. I was like, wait a minute, did I not see that go through?
Yep. But good for Fabrizio, proving me wrong. And he kicks that one away. It's going to go off the net. It's going to be played by Little. He's cutting back upfield. And he gets away from some tacklers. Another missed tackle. Still shakes away from some defenders, and it gets to the 20-yard line. Poor tackling right there for the Rattlers special teams. All the way into Rattlers territory, 1st and 10 from the 20. And our Keith Brown's having a tough game.
Yeah. You can see him limping right there. This is a game that is very brutal on the body, no matter what level you're playing on. More importantly, for as much as these guys are putting it out there on the field, they will need that upcoming bye week.
Quarterback Sean Brackett checks in at quarterback for Las Vegas. Let's talk about, this is the Las Vegas team, year 1 of their organization. They have had arena ball in Las Vegas. It's the first time since 2008 when the Gladiators left to go to Cleveland.
Right.
But what have you seen from this team year 1, trying to get the chemistry down and everything in motion?
It's really a difficult task because whenever you're a newcomer into the league, no matter who you have, a coach, you're trying to assemble players the best you can. It takes time to build chemistry. And you know what? For the Rattlers, they've had a good thing going. They're 3-time world champions, and so they know what it takes to be a champion. You're a newcomer on the block, realignment with the divisions and everything else. You're just trying to find your way. And it's come along. You know, good thing for them is back in week 2 they beat the defending champions. So that's a good confidence builder. But they got a long way to go.
A completion right there to Clinton Solomon makes it 1st and goal for the Outlaws with 20 seconds left as he was driven out of bounds. Sean Brackett again in at quarterback, their backup. He's just going to take it himself, and he's going to run in for a 6. Good recognition right there for Sean Brackett. He's the backup. They did bring him in earlier in the game in a short yardage situation to try to run it in himself. That time, 3-step drop, tucks it, runs, and scores.
Well, he's known more as a running quarterback than one with a good arm. And so, you know, you always try to figure out what's your place in an arena game. You're not necessarily looking for a running quarterback, and that's a viable option as he used it to his best to score the touchdown there.
So it makes it 60-40, 17 seconds left. The snap is good. The kick is through.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it, partner. Good job.
And with 17.3 seconds left, we'll keep it right here. with the score 60-41. But yeah, getting back to the Outlaws, this is a team, though, I mean, you look at the LA Kiss, they had their struggles in their inaugural year. They're having their struggles again this season. They've dropped every game so far this season. This is a Las Vegas team that's kind of hit the ground running. They've got a Hall of Famer as their head coach, and he's dropping some good knowledge to at least have this team 500 coming into tonight.
But it takes time. And it's so hard with Arena because the amount of turnover, whether it's players, the difference in, especially when you're trying to establish a new franchise, no matter where you go and pick players from to get them to buy into the program and to sell out for what's essential for any type of team sport, you got to have total cooperation. It takes time to gel that type of cohesiveness. It takes time to gel those type of players who really want to make this team, put this team over top.
Around the AFL today, San Jose winners 83-28 over Spokane. Orlando with a 1-point 63-62 win over Tampa Bay, a little in-state rivalry, come back to get the win in overtime. Jacksonville drops Philadelphia 55-47. Matchup of a couple good East Coast teams. In the third quarter, Portland is on top of LA 42-21. And then here at US Airways Center, the Rattlers look to make it 6-2 on the year, up 60-41 on the Las Vegas Outlaws. And that kick hits the bar. Keith Brown tries to get it. No, it's A.J. Cruz that ends up coming up with it. Gets to the 10-yard line. That ball must have felt like it was in the air forever.
Yes, I'm sure it was. And Keith, as beat up as he is walking back to the sideline, I'm sure he really didn't want any piece of it. He's like, look, I just want to get off the field.
I have my back to the defense, and the ball is hanging up in the air.
We've got another outlaw down, so let's hope that can't see a number right here, but let's hope that he's okay.
Looks like he's in a lot of pain, too.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Just 15 seconds left in this game. You hope it's not serious.
No, especially the game's so out of reach. The fact is that you don't want to have anybody injured at any point, but that's really a bad sign, the way he's grimacing and playing with his feet.
And the way the ball was just hanging up there, you just know.
I know that team right there is coming up on June 6th.
Yeah, June 6th. That'll be our next broadcast as well. The next home game, the Tampa Bay Storm, Lincoln Kennedy's old squad.
I had one year stint with them. Coach Ewart was our offensive coach down there in Tampa Bay, and Tim Markham was the head coach, part owner of the team when I was there back in 2007. A lot of fun. That year, I gained a lot of respect for the arena game. Really didn't know much about it. Spent most of my time on the big field in the pro game, but didn't know much about it. But a great deal of respect for the arena game, mainly because, Jared, I saw guys who might not have had all of the athleticism to play the pro game, the big field game, I should say, because this is pro football, but they had the heart and the desire, wanting to go out there and make a difference. And then you and I know, because we've done many games together, this is a different crowd. This is a different arena. This is a different venue. This is a different style of football.
But totally different strategy, too.
Absolutely. But nonetheless, it is football, which is a contact sport, which takes heart, and it's not for everybody. You got to separate the men from the boys when it comes to this game.
Clinton Solomon was the player down injured. He was able to walk off under his own power, which is a good sign, despite the amount of pain it looked like he was in. In the arena game, another big difference from the outdoor game, you can't take a knee, so B.J. Coleman's going to have to gain a yard here and dive forward, which he does on 1st and 10, and it's always kind of scary the way he dives forward.
Certainly.
But that'll do it. 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The Arizona Rattlers, boom! 60-41, the final over the Las Vegas Outlaws. The Outlaws knocked them off in week 2. The Rattlers are able to avenge that loss at home and make it 6-2 on the season. The Las Vegas Outlaws fall to 3-4 on the year. We'll keep it here for a minute. We'll have Coach Guy's post-game interview with the public address announcer Vince Marotta coming up here shortly. And we'll go over some stats and look ahead to the bye week. Following that, a big matchup against conference rival Spokane. Before we go down, Lincoln, to Coach Guy, just your overall thoughts from tonight's effort.
I thought it was a little bit of, at times they looked impressive. At times they took their foot off the pedal a little bit. But that's to be expected when you're playing a team that have a double-digit, favored over. So all in all, I thought it was a total team effort out of the Arizona Rattlers. something that they can definitely build on, and I think taking it forward in the latter part of their season, they have something that they look back and be mindful of. They got revenge the first set of it.
Let's go down to Vince on the field with Coach Guy.
It was really bookended by the defense. You get those first 2 stops in the first quarter, then the 2 picks by Jeremy in the second half. Can you talk about the defense's performance tonight?
I thought they played outstanding tonight. We had 5 stops. You know, our goal was to try to get 6, but came up a little short there. But I thought we got enough stops to win the game. You know, good execution all the way around.
And the execution, it wasn't always smooth offensively, but 8 touchdowns in 9 possessions tonight on the offense led by B.J. Coleman.
Well, B.J., you know, played outstanding. I thought our offense was very efficient tonight. You know, we'll look at it, try to make our corrections. But, you know, I guess, you know, I saw some of the press clippings when Nick went down. I guess they thought the season was over, but they forgot who we were.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Enjoy the bye week. We'll see you back here in 3 weeks when the Rattlers host the Tampa Bay Storm here at the Snake Pit.
Coach Guy likes to let it hang.